Hey guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. Today we will see what if Kushina regrets disowning Naruto. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments. I wonder where Ka-san and Tu-san are, a male voice said aloud. The voice belonged to a young boy, around the age of 5, sitting on top of tall building. He had spiky blonde hair and dark blue eyes. On his cheeks were 3 whisker-like birthmarks each. He was wearing a black shirt with an orange spiral in the middle of the chest and burnt orange shorts. On his feet were some worn sandals. He was looking at the full moon in the night sky, with a pout on his lips. Naruto-kun, an elderly voice said from behind the now named Naruto. The blonde turned around and saw an old man, with gray hair looking at him. He was wearing a male blue kimono top and black pants, on his feet were sandals. "What are you doing up here all alone?" "I'm waiting for Ka-san and Tu-san. They told me they were going to get my baby sisters, but that was hours ago," the little boy whined, causing the old man to chuckle. "Sarutobi Jii, do you know where babies come from?" That caused the old man to stop his chuckling and nearly choke on his pipe. "Why do you ask?" Sarutobi questioned nervously. "Because I was wondering if it's in a faraway place. I mean, Itachi said he had to wait for his Ka-san and Tu-san for a long time too when they brought his little brother home." Sarutobi let out a sigh of relief and coughed. "Well, I'll tell you when you are older. For now, let's go get you some dinner. What do you say to some ramen?" "Yay, ramen." Naruto ran towards the stairs, with the old man chuckling behind him. When he was about to reach the stairs, the blonde boy stopped dead in his tracks. His body went rigid, and from behind the old man could see was trembling. "Naruto-kun, what's wrong?" "The air, it feels angry," the boy said. Feels like what?" "It feels like something bad is about to happen." After the blonde whispered that a red light filled the air, followed by a primal roar. That was the night the Kyuubi no Kitsune was released onto Konoha. 2 years later, Naruto Uzumaki, formerly Naruto Namikaze, was sitting inside a classroom. His chin was in the palm of his right hand as he rested his elbow on the table in front of him. He was wearing a black jacket over a dark orange shirt and black pants. He had matching orange gloves on his hands, with blue ninja sandals on his feet. On his forehead was a Konoha forehead protector. On his hip, attached to his belt, was a pouch that was full of various ninja tools like shuriken, steel wire and several explosive notes. His eyes lazily watched the room full of students. "I wonder how many of here will actually reach the level of the ninja I see every day," Naruto thought to himself. He was broken out of his thoughts when the seat next to him was dragged back and someone sat next to him. Looking towards the newcomer, Naruto took in his appearance. Next to him sat a boy with black hair done with a small ponytail in the back. He wore a black shirt with a high collar and gray pants. He too had a pouch attached to his hip, and a forehead protector. He crossed his fingers as he sat down and watched the others. The two sat quietly for a few moments, before Naruto spoke. "Hey Itachi." "Yes, Naruto-san?" Itachi replied. This was Itachi Uchiha, the genius of the Uchiha clan, and current heir to the family. "Do you think it was right of us to skip ahead of all our other classmates? I mean, we are only 7 years old after all, and all these other people are like 11 or 12 already. I think we made the right choice. Do you want to stay behind with them for another 5 years? Naruto rolled his eyes but nodded. "Yeah, I just hope the team we are put in will like us. As long as you don't mouth off at them, then we will be alright," Itachi said with a smirk. "Haha, very funny," Naruto replied at the jibe. "Then I hope your group won't hate you for bringing along your fangirls." Naruto smirked as he saw his friend shiver. "Do not bring them up again." "Ah, is Itachi still scarred from what happened last time? You left me to them, they tried to pull out my hair. They also touched me in places I never knew I had." This time Naruto cringed. He really didn't mean to leave Itachi to the annoying masses of females that tend to follow them, but when it comes to choosing your own life or that of your friends, against fangirls it's better to give them what they want. Ouch. Yeah, sorry about that. Itachi glared at him from the corner of his eye before looking forward again as their teacher walked in. "Class, today we are here to assign you to your squads. You will be with these people in the group for a long time. So do come to trust them. No matter what happens from here on, I will always be proud to be your teacher. I also would like to note that, even though 2 of the students here," the teacher paused in her speech and looked at Naruto and Itachi who were sitting in the back, are younger than all of you. If they are in your team, treat them as you would your other teammates. Now let us begin. Team 1 Iruka Amino. After that, Naruto drowned out the rest of the speech, seeing as his older friend, Iruka, wouldn't be in the same squad as him. It would be a few minutes later that his attention came back to his sensei. Squad 9 is Itachi Uchiha, Yugo Azuki and Naruto Uzumaki. Your sensei is Makoto Uchiha. This made Naruto look over to his friend. Did you know about this? Naruto asked. I didn't. Ka-san said nothing to me about her being our squad leader, let alone both of us in the same team. Do you know who the third person in our group is? It's the one staring at us right now. Itachi pointed. Near the front of the class was a girl with long purple hair and she had worn a purple shirt and black bicycle shorts. Her forehead protector was wrapped around her left bicep. Naruto saw that she was looking at them and waved. The girl seemed surprised for a moment, then cautiously waved back. Hopefully she won't mind us being her teammates. Yes, now let us wait. After calling all the names, the sensei stopped talking and had the students get into their group to speak to each other. Since Naruto and Itachi were already sitting by each other, they didn't have to stand up, but they did wait for Yugo to sit next to them. She walked up the aisle until she was in front of them. So you two are my teammates? Yup, Naruto said with an energetic smile. He put his hand out for her to shake. Naruto Uzumaki, nice to meet you senpai. Let's work hard, TT Ibeo. Naruto stopped talking for a minute, then slammed his head down before she could shake it. He let out a groan from his position. Are you okay, Naruto-san? Yugo asked nervously. I hope he isn't crazy. Next to her, Itachi was chuckling. I did it again, didn't I? Yes, you did, Naruto, Itachi replied, still chuckling. What are you two talking about? Yugo asked, slightly freaked out. You see, Yugo-san, Naruto here has an odd verbal tic. He tends to say, TT Ibeo, when he gets excited, Itachi explained. Back then when we were still 5 years old, he kept saying it. After a certain incident he vowed to never say that phrase if he could help it. A certain incident? I helped Itachi out during one of his fangirl episodes, Naruto grumbled. He sat up straighter in his chair and frowned. I distracted some of the girls last year, and accidentally shouted out that I'd help him out. I said, TT Ibeo at the end of the whole awesome speech I gave. Then it happened. What? He accidentally got his own fangirls. They thought he was cute, charming and loved his verbal tic. Itachi chuckled again, a small smile on his face. It lessened my group about a third or so. Don't remind me. They swarmed me last week when we got our forehead protectors. You had Makoto-sama to help you, but I had to run into the trees, the blonde cried, as anime tears fell from his face. Even now Yugo was laughing alongside Itachi. Squad 9, a feminine voice. The trio stopped their antics and looked over to the front of the room. Standing there was their leader, Makoto Uchiha, in standard Chunin gear. Black ninja pants, ninja sweater, shirt, Chunin flak jacket and a forehead protector. His hair was similar to that of Itachi's, that of course is due to her being his mother. Would you come with me please? Naruto nodded and stood up, followed by Itachi and Yugo. Hey Naruto, a voice said. Naruto stopped as they walked and looked at the source of the voice. A teen with a scar running across his nose and was more slightly tanned was looking at him. What do you want, Iruka? Naruto smirked back. Train hard. When the Chunin exams come, let's go together, Iruka said with a smirk. You do know that if that does happen, we'll be enemies, right? URK. Iruka stopped talking and blushed in embarrassment. Well, I'm off, Iruka. I'll see you around, and if we do meet at the Chunin exams again, I'll see you on the battlefield. Iruka smiled at him. That's Iruka senpai to you, brat. Naruto waved it off and walked out with his team. Minutes later, the group found themselves sitting in an empty training field. Okay, I'd like us to introduce ourselves to one another, Makoto said with a smile. But you already know us, Makoto-sama, Naruto whined. It's supposed to be so that Azuki-senpai could learn more about us, Naruto, Itachi said. Naruto looked confused for a moment, and closed his eyes to think. From her position, it looked like Naruto was some sort of fox. After a moment, Naruto nodded. Okay, I get it. Sorry, Makoto-sama, why don't you go first? Alright then. My name is Makoto Uchiha, and I am Chunin. I was also part of the Konoha police force until I decided to train kids like you. I like my family, and I really don't have anything I do not like. Wait, Naruto started to speak after she finished. Who's taking care of Sasuke while you're with us? I mean he's only 2, ain't he? Yes, I know he is only 2 Naruto-kun. However, since we will be more likely doing D-rank missions for a few weeks, I can take him with us. Naruto's face faltered at her sweet and innocent smile at the mention of D-rank missions. Yugo wanted to laugh and Itachi just shook his head in exasperation. He forgot how much of an idiot Naruto could be from time to time. Why don't you go next to Zuki-san? Hi, Uchiha-sensei, Yugo replied respectfully. Oh, please don't call me that. Call me Makoto. But Yugo knew she would lose this argument, so she nodded her head. Hi Makoto-sensei. I am Yugo Uzuki. I don't dislike a lot of things, but I like looking at the moon, and a certain person. She said with a blush. I dream to be part of the Anbu one day and help out our village be at its very best. That is good to hear. Itachi-kun, why don't you go next? My name is Itachi Uchiha, of the Uchiha clan. I like to visit traditional cafes, and I like to eat cabbages or onigiri with seaweed in it. I dislike steak. My favorite word is peace. My dream is to one day see my little brother surpassing me. Aw, ain't that sweet? Naruto gushed. Itachi hit him on the back of the head before looking back at his mother. Naruto-kun, please don't interrupt others when they talk, Makoto scolded, although only lightly. Hi Makoto-sama. Well, you're up next Naruto-kun. The blonde nodded and stood up. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I like training, reading some books Sarutobi Jii gave me, watering plants and my friends. My favorite foods are ramen and red bean soup, although I hate fresh vegetables. I dislike those who abandon other people. My dream is, Naruto stopped talking before smiling. What is your dream Naruto-san? Yugo asked. He looked towards Hokage Monument, before pointing at their faces. I one day plan to surpass all the previous Hokages, Ibeo. After a second Naruto groaned, while Itachi chuckled in the background. Damn, that's the second time today. Aw, but it's cute Naruto-kun, Makoto giggled along with Yugo. Shinobis aren't supposed to be cute. We're supposed to be precise, deadly and cool, Naruto grumbled. That is true. Well, let us meet tomorrow. We will have team exercises starting at 8 in the morning. Be on time. After that, we will start doing some D-rank missions. Itachi, let us go home. Sasuke needs to be fed soon, and I don't trust that Shisui will feed him the right amount. Wait, you mean you aren't going to do the second test on us? Naruto asked surprised. What second test? Yugo asked. There is a second test Makoto-sensei? Well, I was supposed to give you one, but I know you three will work well. If not, Naruto and Itachi can easily put you into their formations, Makoto said with a smile. Turning to her son, the black-haired woman started to walk away. Itachi, let's go. Naruto-kun can explain to Yugo what I mean. Hi Ka-san, her son agreed. Turning to his teammates he bowed to them before leaving. It was nice to meet you Uzuki-san. Let us work well together. That left the other 7-year-old boy with the 12-year-old. What do they mean by your formations? Yugo asked again. Naruto turned to her and smiled. Well, Itachi and I, we're really good friends. Ever since we were kids. Hell, I can't think of a time when I hadn't hung out with him. I was even there when he first got his Sharingan. He almost got killed by a bear due to my indecision and it accidentally opened. But that's not what you want to hear, right? The purple-haired girl nodded. You see, due to me and Itachi always hanging out, we also sparred a lot. Not only that, we also learned to fight alongside each other. We learned how to complement each other in our fighting styles. What do you mean? Yugo was now curious. She wanted to know more about her teammates in order to get along with them better. The two of them were walking back into the more residential part of the village as they spoke. You see, he and I complement each other. I'm more about strength, stamina and taijutsu, more of hand-to-hand kind of guy. While Itachi is much better at doing hand seals, genjutsu and speed. It doesn't mean we are horrible at it. I mean I can do simple genjutsus and break free from them. I can't do complicated ones like Itachi. While I can last longer in fights compared to him, the blonde explained. I see, that still doesn't explain the whole formation thing. It's basically we do something to complement the other person's attack. If Itachi uses a genjutsu, I have to take it up close and personal. If I use a wind-type attack, he uses a fire-type. Simple no? Ah, where do two 7-year-olds get time to do this? The blonde shrugged at the purple-haired girl's question. If you read as much as I do and get trained as much as Itachi does, we have a lot of free time. That is why he and I are in your group. We advanced faster than anyone else in our class. Although it would be nice to have some of them with us. Yugo was about to speak again, except eruption of noise came from down the street. Looking down the road, she saw a bunch of people surrounding a couple, with babies in their arms. One was a blonde man with spiky hair and blue eyes, just like Naruto's. He wore the same thing as to what Makoto wore, except he had a white cloak over it with orange spike liking the bottom. He too wore a forehead protector on his forehead. Standing next to him was a woman with long red hair and gray eyes. She had on a white short-sleeve kimono top, with a black skirt. Black stockings were on her legs, and she too had a forehead protector, just like every other ninja. In their arms were babies, both of which were girls. One was blonde and blue-eyed, just like the father, while the other had red hair and gray eyes like their mother. Oh my, the Hokage's family. Yugo gasped. I didn't know they walked down this way. Of course they do, Naruto said with a grumble, although Yugo didn't seem to notice it. They live down the street. Largest house at the end. Really? How did you know that? Passed it a couple of times. I mean, who wouldn't know the home of Minato and Kushina Namikaze? As well as the heroes of the village, Yuri and Tsubaki, the blonde said sarcastically. This time Yugo did notice the tone. Is something wrong, Uzumaki-san? It seems like you have something against the Hokage. I have nothing against him. Really, I don't. Looking past them, Naruto sighed before putting his hands into his pockets. I'll see you tomorrow, Yugo-senpai. I'll be heading home. Naruto walked towards the group with Yugo watching him. As Naruto walked, he neared the group. He could see them laughing with the villagers, and it made him feel sick. Trying to walk by the side, Naruto attempted not to be seen but failed. Uzumaki-san, a male voice called out to him. Naruto beat down the growl in his throat as he turned towards the people looking at him. Putting on a strained smile, he looked at the family in front of him. The villagers were looking between the two and noticed that both the Hokage and Naruto looked similar to each other. Good afternoon, Hokage-sama, Namikaze-sama, he greeted the family. How are you and your family today? We are doing well, thank you for asking, Uzumaki-kun, Kushina replied back with a smile. Again, Naruto had to force down the growl threatening to come out of his mouth. How are you today? Naruto smirked, but had to resist the urge of rolling his eyes. I just became a ninja of Konoha, he answered, tapping the thing on his forehead. As of today, I will be working under you, Hokage-sama. Please treat me well. I will, Minato replied this time. You should run along now, your parents must be waiting for you at home. Naruto was happy that at least one of his hands were in his pockets, so no one could see him making a fist at the comment. Yeah, they just might be. Goodbye, Hokage-sama, Namikaze-sama. After that, Naruto turned on his heel and went down the road in the opposite direction of the Namikaze family and household. After walking a few blocks away, Naruto let out a frustrated growl and slammed his fist into the wall. That freaking prick. He then winced in pain before looking at his hand. TCH, Shizune won't be happy about this. Nursing his hand, he continued to walk down the street, greeting other people as he did. He kept walking until Naruto reached a one-story house that was rather plain. A white, light gray paint had fitted the building. It had a large yard in the front, as well as no neighbor on either side. Going down the beaten path, the blonde ninja fished out his key and opened the front door. Again, nothing out of the ordinary was inside the living. There was a couch, a bookshelf, a few potted plants and a coffee table. He walked by a plain kitchen, with all the appliances that were just necessary to cook, and out to the back door. That was where most of the ordinary things stopped. The backyard was built like a training field. There were targets off in the distances, a few test dummies for fighting, a small pond to practice walking on water or doing water jutsus. Basically, a ninja's dream backyard. There was also a forest that seemed to extend from where the backyard stopped. Taking a seat on a bench nearby the door, Naruto sat down and sighed. He just sat there for a while, looking at the horizon, not knowing how much time had passed. What's wrong with you, brat? A mature woman's voice asked. Naruto sighed for like the 100th time that day. What's up, Ba-chan? He asked the woman who took a seat next to him. He received a small punch to his head when after a few seconds. Ow! The 7-year-old he looked at the woman. She was wearing a gray shirt that showed a fair amount of her very large breasts. Over it there was a green coat trimmed with black, and if one were to look at the back they would see the kanji for the gamble. She wore black ninja pants and high heels. Her dark blonde hair was down into twin tails, and she had a diamond-shaped mark on her forehead. What was that for? I told you to stop calling me that. At least call me Tsunade, the one now called Tsunade said. I am the heiress to the Senju clan after all. Now what is wrong with you? What do you mean? The younger blonde asked, feigning ignorance, just like the little kid he is. You're staring out into space again when I got here and your hand is bleeding. Don't kid with me, what happened? It was all quiet for a moment before Naruto spoke again. I saw them again. Naruto growled, yet he could feel some pinpricks of tears in his eyes. They looked like the perfect little family. One that I should be part of. And after that, Naruto started crying. Tsunade moved closer to him and put him in a hug. There, Naruto, it's okay, Tsunade cooed. It's not, Naruto wailed. I don't get it. I don't see why Tu-san kicked me out. I don't get why Ka-san doesn't know me anymore. I just don't get it. It all started when those girls were born. The two stayed like that for a few minutes, Naruto bawling his eyes out and Tsunade trying to comfort him. When he finally calmed down, Naruto moved away from her and sighed. Thanks, Ba. He stopped when he heard her growl, I mean Tsunade-chan. I really needed that. You always get like this when they talk to you. I keep telling you to avoid them. I can't do that now since I'm a ninja, Tsunade-chan. Naruto sighed again and Tsunade got a tick mark on her head. She gave him a light slap on the back of his head, but with her strength caused him to stumble off the chair. You sigh too much for a 7-year-old. You should go out there and have fun. You'll be stuck doing chores, I mean, D-ranked missions for some time, so I suggest that you have as much fun as you can. Don't let your former family get in the way of your life. Yeah, I guess you're right. You know I'm right. Now let me see that wound on your hand before Shizune comes back. You know how she fusses over you when you get hurt. Naruto showed her his hand while she did a healing jutsu on it. She should get a boyfriend already. I swear she's 17 and single. Must be bad for her. Why do you think that? Ero-sensei told me to think like that. I see. I'll have to have a talk with him when he comes to visit tonight. Ero-sensei is coming, the blonde asked excitedly. Maybe he'll teach me a new jutsu today. Don't get too excited, brat. After the beating I'll give him for peeking in on the onsens again, he might not be able to teach you anything. Oh, Ba-chan, don't hurt him too bad. Another tick mark appeared on her forehead. Don't call me that, you brat. Hours later, it was close to midnight and Naruto was asleep in his bed. This was of course after his surrogate sister, Shizune, berated him for hurting himself. Then a dinner which was interrupted by Jiraiya, the legendary Toad Sage, or as Naruto liked to call him, Ero-sensei. After a beating, the old man tried to teach him a jutsu which Naruto couldn't get just yet but promised he'll work on it. He cried again, you know, Tsunade said to Jiraiya as the two peeked into his room. The man behind her sighed. I wish I didn't bring up the prophecy to Minato, Jiraiya muttered. Maybe if I didn't do that, Naruto would still be with them. Turning over to them who Tsunade would consider her best friend now, she saw the regret in his eyes. I just thought that he should know about it since it might concern his kids. I agree with you there, but I didn't think Minato would go as far as disowning Naruto there. I also wonder what happened to Kushina. It seems like something happened to her on that day too. As if she doesn't even know she has a son, the Toad Sage said. I think something happened that night. Something that forced both Kushina and Minato to act differently towards Naruto. What do you mean? Tsunade asked. There is no way Kushina would do something like abandon Naruto. She was so excited when she gave birth to him and was happy raising him those first 5 years. Something, or someone, must have changed the way they think. You mean you think someone attacked them that night? Tsunade gasped. Yes, I think it is one of Danzo's men, probably a Yamanaka, but I can't be too sure. When did you come up with the time to think of this? When I wasn't looking for Orochimaru for the past 2 years, I've been trying to think of a reason as to why they would abandon him. That is the best I could come up with. The two stayed silent for a while before Jiraiya cleared his throat. I think I'll be going now. Visit Minato and have a word with him. Maybe he can shed some light on this situation. Alright, go do that. Do I get a parting kiss? Jiraiya made a kissing face, but received a punch instead. Pervert, are you still trying to get with me? Maybe. Jiraiya laughed. Also, I plan to visit the old man, after visiting Minato. How is he doing, by the way? I don't know, the fact that he took a blow from the Kyuubi after protecting Naruto from an attack surprised me. I'm happy he's still alive, but it will take some time for him to be up to snuff. Heck, he might be more limber than before. That's great to hear. Well, see you later, Tsunade Heim. Walking down the hall, Jiraiya opened a window and jumped out into the night sky. As he did though, there were some thoughts in his mind. Thoughts about Naruto and what his future may hold for him. How do they keep doing it? A Chunin at the mission desk asked. It was only 2 weeks into the team's formation, but most people would have not expected such enthusiasm from Team 9. Over the course of 2 weeks, Naruto and his group done exactly 53 D-ranked missions, which was surprising seeing as not a lot of people expected the group with 2 7-year-olds to get that much work done. They thought they would complain the entire time. Most of them didn't expect them to go above and beyond the other current groups of rookie genin. How come they don't take forever to catch that damned cat like all the groups? He whispered to the person next to him. Why they were whispering amongst themselves was the fact that the trio was now holding a light brown furred cat with a red ribbon on its tail. Now the reason the entire 2 Chunin were whispering amongst themselves was the fact that this cat was Tora, the daimyo's wife's cat, was near uncatchable. It always puts up a fight when people try to catch it, usually taking hours to do for a simple D-ranked mission. However, this time it is different. This time the Naruto, Itachi and Yugo's team only took 20 minutes, and without any indication of a struggle. Who's a nice little cat? You are, Naruto cooed at the cat in his arms. The cat was happily responding back, lightly nuzzling into the blonde's arm. Naruto, would you please stop doing that? Itachi sighed next to the blonde. It's not like it is a summon animal that can understand human speech. I'll do what I like, Naruto said with a small glare. He then turned to the cat and said, right Tora-chan? The cat mewed affectionately. Itachi turned to the 2 women in his group. Do something about this please? Ah, but he gets so cute when he's with that cat, Makoto replied. She giggled when the blonde gently nuzzled the cat back as it did it with him. And even though I hate that cat and its entire family for making my genin days a living hell, at least Naruto seems to enjoy it. I'll never get why that cat seems to be attracted to Uzumaki-san, Yugo sighed. It won't even attack him. It hissed at us though. When they got to the desk, Naruto presented the cat to a fat lady in a purple dress. Oh, you brought back my baby, the daimyo's wife shouted. She then proceeded to place the cat between her breasts and give it a suffocating hug. The cat struggled in her grasp. From the other side of the table, watched horrified at what was happening, Makoto was laughing internally, while Itachi and Yugo were just relieved they didn't have to chase the cat again. Ms. I don't think you should. Naruto started to talk, to tell the woman to not do that to the cat, for that was the reason it kept running away. He was refrained from talking, when the daimyo's wife put him into a chest-crushing hug as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Naruto's arms were flailing as he was being suffocated by the woman. Ma'am, if you please release our boy, it seems like he's losing his breath, an elderly voice said from the table. The woman did just that. Oh my, I'm so sorry, the daimyo's wife apologized. Well, I'll be going now, Hokage Dono. Thank you for the help. The old voice chuckled again. I'm the former Hokage, madam. Right now I'm just Sarutobi Hiruzen, mission administrator, Sarutobi said from the desk. The woman smiled and left the room. People noticed that the cat gave Naruto a pleading look as she left. When she was out of earshot, Naruto spoke. She's going to kill that cat if she keeps doing that. It is not up to us what she does with her pets, Naruto-kun, Sarutobi told the blonde. I know, Sarutobi Jii, I know. He was then whacked on the back of the head by Itachi. Hey, what was that for? Please forgive Naruto of his rudeness, Hokage-sama. He tends to forget who he is in front of, Itachi apologized. The former Hokage just smiled. It is fine, Itachi-kun. Naruto and I have been friends for a long time, so he tends to call me that and I allow it, Sarutobi replied. He then turned to Makoto. Another successful mission, I see. Hi, Hokage-sama. That would make it your 53 completed D-ranked mission in over 2 weeks. I must say I'm impressed. The only ones who could compete with your group is Iruka Amino, Katetsu Hagane and Izumo Kamizuki's group. But even then they only have about half as much as you done. Looking at the three kids in front of him, the former Hokage lifted up a brow. Are you guys getting in the necessary training? We've got teamwork down, so no need to worry about a Sarutobi Jii. Naruto boasted. It will take some time to fully incorporate Azuki-san into our methods, but we will manage, Itachi replied. These two have been training hard, by themselves and with me, Yugo admitted. I was surprised to see that they were so skilled already. Even though I'm older, I think I'm the weakest in our group. She then felt two hands on her shoulders. She looked at behind her and saw her two teammates smiling at her, although she had to look a bit down since the two were still rather short. Don't think like that, Yugo-senpai, Naruto started. Like we said at the start of our team formation, we'll help you get stronger, Itachi finished. Guys, Yugo whispered. Besides, you're not a training junkie like my son or Naruto-kun, Makoto said from the background, with Yugo smiling at her. Okawa-san, Makoto-sama. Itachi, uncharacteristically, and Naruto whined at the little insult. Sarutobi gave a smile at the group, seeing as they got along well. Taking a drag from his pipe, he let out a deep breath. It is safe to assume that your team is above doing D-rank missions now. Seeing as you'll only speed through them, I think it is time that you have your first C-rank mission. Really? Naruto asked with a smile. Do we get to go beat up some bandits? Save people? Play the hero? Calm down, Naruto-kun. It is nothing like that. You are going off to the tea country and take care of a girl for a week. Ooh, is she a princess? No, she's just a girl. Naruto deflated by it. That. We'll take it, Hokage-sama. When do we leave? Makoto asked. The old man looked at the clock on the wall before turning back to her. If you want you can leave within the next 2 hours. It will take you about a day on foot to reach the building. It is on the border of fire and tea country, Sarutobi informed them. They all nodded their heads in understanding. Good, you are dismissed to get your supplies ready. They all bowed and were about to leave, until the former Hokage spoke again. Naruto-kun, I'd like a word with you. Oh sure, Gigi, the blonde kid replied. He turned to the rest of his team and nodded at them. I'll meet with you guys later at the gate. They all nodded there and left the room. So what do you want to talk to me about? Let's do this on a walk, Naruto-kun. It has been a while since I had a good stroll with you. The old man stood up and they began to walk out of the building. The two strolled around the more quieter parts of the village, near a park. So Naruto-kun, how have you been? I've been well, Sarutobi Jii, Naruto answered. I mean, I've been really busy with all these things happening, but it's been pretty fun with Itachi and them. Heck, it has been great with them. That's good, Naruto-kun. I'm glad you like your team. I was the one who suggested it to you, father, to put you in that team. I have no father, he is just the Hokage-sama to me, the boy frowned. The old man frowned but nodded his head. I forgot you don't consider him your father anymore. After he disowned you, it hasn't been the same, hasn't it? Yeah, it hurts just to see them, you know? I mean, I should be part of that picture too, smiling with them and having fun. Yet, I don't know what happened that day. I wish I knew what happened. I do too, Naruto-kun, I do too. I'm also wondering what happened to your mother, since it seems like she doesn't know who you are. That, along with the law that your father had instated after you being disowned, makes it impossible for anyone to tell her how you are related to her. I do not see why he made your disowning and your origins a sulfur monosulfide class secret. He won't let anyone say a thing about it unless they want to be executed. Even I have to abide by it. The two sat down on a bench in the park and just looked around. That makes no sense, and I don't like it because it makes no sense. I agree. He then turned towards the 7-year-old, who seemed to be older than he should be with the stress being put on him by own father. You know, a few days ago, Kushina came in and asked about you. Really? Naruto asked, perking up. Yes, she was asking about who you are, wondering why you have her old last name. With your father being in Tay room, I couldn't say anything. So I had to lie and said you were a long-lost relative, a survivor of the Whirlpool country, who had been found after the war. Oh, the blonde deflated. I'm sorry. It's okay, Gigi. I know you mean well and have to follow the laws as well. I just wish. Naruto sighed. I just wished there weren't any laws like that. Just so I can be with mom and dad again. He then felt a hand on his head and saw the Hokage smiling at him. Your way of thinking is far too old for one such as young as yourself, Sarutobi smiled. Go and get ready for the mission, Naruto-kun. Try and be friends with the girl you are going to take care of. Maybe you'll make a new friend. Naruto smiled ruefully and swatted away the old man's hand. You don't have to tell me that, Sarutobi-jii. I like making new friends. He got off the bench and began to run out of the park. See ya later, Sarutobi-jii. Goodbye, Naruto-kun. The former Hokage smiled as he watched his surrogate grandson run out of the park. His smile disappeared as he thought of his successor's doing. Minato-kun, just what are you thinking? Doing this to your own son? I'll have to ask Jiraiya-kun if he knows anything about it. He then turned back and started his walk back towards the Hokage's building to give out more work. Naruto, on the other hand, was running back home so he can pack up. As he ran, he stopped for he saw a familiar face. Hana-chan, he shouted out, getting the attention of another kid. In front of him a girl around his age with brown hair in a ponytail was looking at him. She had on a gray shirt and black pants, with sandals. On her cheeks were 2 red tattoos in the shape of fangs. Standing next to her was a feral-looking woman, with the exact same tattoos on her cheeks, and was wearing a Chunin uniform. Around them was one big dog with an eye patch over its right eye and 3 puppies. Good morning, Hana-chan, Sume-sama. Ah, Naruto-kun, how are you? Hana Inuzuka asked as he approached her. I'm doing great. When did you get these puppies, Hana-chan? She got them today, Sume Inuzuka replied. I decided that she would need a lot more time with her dogs since she has 3. So instead of giving them to her at 11 or 12 as I usually do, I gave them to her at 7. Ah, that's so cool. Naruto replied with a smile. So what are you up to now, Naruto-kun? Hana wondered. Don't you have a mission today since you are a genin now? Mr. I'm so smart and talented that I graduated 5 years earlier? Hey, I'm not the only one who graduated earlier, Itachi did too, remember? I know, but you're a closer friend to me than he is. So do you have a mission today? I do. Sarutobi-jii thought it would be nice of us to start doing C-rank missions since we seem to breeze through the D-rank ones rather easily, Naruto explained. Wow, on a C-rank mission already. I remember it took my group about a month of being a genin to get our first C-rank missions. You guys are rather fast, Sume praised. Naruto chuckled and scratched the back of his head in embarrassment. You're so lucky, Naruto-kun. You already get to leave the village. I can't even do that yet, Hana pouted. Don't worry, Hana-chan. You'll be doing these things too eventually. So do your best in the academy and maybe you'll catch up to me and Itachi, Naruto stated. Yeah right, you guys are too good. Even if you don't say it, you guys were always the best in the academy. Hee, true. We'll see. Well, I have to go. See you, Hana-chan. Sume-sama. Naruto bowed to both of them and ran towards his home. The 2 Inuzuka women stared at him as he ran away. Hey, still as energetic as ever. Reminds me of his mother, Sume smirked. His mother? You mean Ku? Hana was interrupted when her mother placed a hand on her mouth. We can't say that out loud, remember? Why? The Hokage said not to. I don't like what is happening. Me neither, but we can't do anything about it. A day later, after getting together, Team 9 had set out for their mission. There was no trouble on the road they were on and everything seemed to go fine. They had camped out that night, each person taking watch. Itachi went first, then Naruto, then Yugo and Makoto. Itachi and Naruto went first since they would tire more easily since they were younger, not accustomed to staying up late. Makoto also asked one of the younger Uchiha members to look after Sasuke for her, knowing that her husband would forget. Then after a day of walking, and Naruto constantly asking if they were there yet, the squad finally made it out to a small house in a forest, just a couple of kilometers away from a small town. Well group, here we are, Makoto stated. This is the house of a one Sandayu Asama. We are here to babysit, protect the girl he is taking care of. Couldn't he get some babysitter from somewhere else? Naruto asked with a frown on his face. Well, he would have if he wasn't going to be gone for a month. Kami, this is just like another D-rank mission except outside of the village. Now Naruto-kun, we've accepted this mission and as ninja of Konoha we are going to do our work. Got it? Makoto asked. Hi Makoto-sama, I don't have to like it though. You didn't like the walk over here. I guess it's to be expected you won't like the person either, Itachi said with a roll of his eyes as he crossed his arms over his chest. I wonder what this girl would be like, Yugo said aloud. I just wonder if I will have time to nap, Naruto mumbled. Haven't had one of those in a while. Oh great, you sound like a Nara, Itachi mumbled. There is nothing wrong with the Naras, you know. Of course there isn't anything wrong with them. Just their worth ethic is a bit under par, however, they are geniuses. Boys please stop arguing, Makoto sighed. We get enough of this at the village. I don't want to make a bad impression on the clients. How about this? Itachi, if you don't argue with Naruto during the time we are here, I'll take you to that cafe near the border of Wind Country that you were always asking to go to. Naruto, I'll buy you a week's worth of ramen. At that both boys stopped arguing. How do you do it, Makoto-sensei? Yugo asked. I love both boys very much. I even treat Naruto as if he was my own son. That is why I know how to handle them easily. She then turned to the two boys who seemed mesmerized at her offer. Let's go and greet our client. The boys nodded and the group walked over to the cabin. Makoto knocked on the door and waited for it to open. When it did, a man who looked to be in his mid-40s was standing there. He had brown, graying hair and wore a business suit. He had on a small pair of glasses. He smiled at them. Hello, are you Sandayu Asama-san? Makoto asked politely. Ah yes I am. You must be the ninja from Konoha said, right? Sandayu asked. Yes. I am Makoto Uchiha. This is my squad consisting of Itachi, my son, Naruto Uzumaki, the blonde one, and Yugo Azuki, the only girl in our team. We will be taking care of your charge for the next few days. Thank you for coming. Please, come in. I'll call her down. The group entered and saw that the place was furnished modestly, with a few chairs, a couch and a table. The kitchen was attached to the living room and had just the bare necessities in it. To Naruto, it sort of reminded him of the opening in his and Tsunade's house. Yuki, come down here and meet the people who will stay with you while I'm doing business. Naruto looked up the stairs that lead to a second story and saw a girl their age coming down the stairs. She had on a pink kimono wrapped with a red obi. Her hair was a dark shade of blue, almost black. She was smiling at them. Hello, I am Yuki Fujikaze, she greeted. Naruto looked at her and noticed something off about her. Please treat me well. We will. Let me introduce you to my team. This is my son Itachi, he should be the same age as you. She pointed to her son. Itachi gave her a nod, to which Yuki gave a bow. The girl standing next to him is Yugo Azuki. She is older than you by 5 years. Nice to meet you Fujikaze-san, Yugo bowed. Nice to meet you too Azuki-san. Yuki returned the greeting. And the last one is Naruto Uzumaki, Makoto introduced the blonde. It's nice to meet you as well Uzumaki-san, Yuki bowed again. Naruto kept staring at her intensely. Is there something on my face? There's something wrong with it, Naruto said bluntly. Excuse me? There's something I don't like about your face. Naruto. The rest of his group shouted at him simultaneously. Don't be rude. He then looked at them. What? I'm just telling the truth. What a way to make a first impression, Itachi mumbled. Next to him Yugo nodded. Makoto shook her head. I'm sorry for his mouth, he usually isn't like this at all. Most of the time he only mouths off at Itachi there. She apologized to Yuki and Sandayu. Naruto, you apologize too. Why? Naruto asked surprised. I'm just telling them what I think. It's fine, Yuki said with a smile. When she saw Naruto looking at her again, she frowned. Do you really not like my face? Yeah, I honestly don't like your face. There's something wrong with it. He then turned to Sandayu. Sandayu-san, if you would show us where our rooms are, I'd like to put my stuff there. Then the blonde looked at his leader. After that I'll be nearby in the forest training. I'll come right this way, Sandayu mentioned for Naruto to follow him up the stairs. The blonde followed him, leaving his group surprised at his actions, and a confused girl. Is he really rarely like this? Yuki asked. He's rarely hostile or insulting to our other clients. This is the first time he outright doesn't like someone, Itachi explained. I wonder what makes you so special. When Yuki saw Itachi looking at her, she blushed and looked away. Itachi rolled his eyes, hoping to not get a fangirl from this girl. I do wonder too why Uzumaki-san doesn't like you, Yugo admitted. The only time I've even seen him irritated was when we passed by the Hokage's family. Both Itachi and Makoto stiffened at that. Hokage? Yuki asked. Not Hokage, Hokage. He is the leader of our village, and the one of the strongest people in our nation, the purple-haired girl explained. But yeah, he seemed irritated when he saw them. She turned to the two other people from Konoha still in the room. Do you know the reason why he would be like that? You should actually know the reason, unless you weren't there during the announcement, Makoto replied. Her voice had an angry tone in it. What announcement? Weren't you there all 2 years ago? After the birth of both Tsubaki and Yuri? Who's Tsubaki and Yuri? Yuki asked. The trio then remembered the girl was there. They are the daughters of the Hokage, Yugo answered. Looking at her teacher, she saw that her face seemed distant and sad at the same time. What announcement are you talking about, Makoto-sensei? The announcement, Makoto spoke until Itachi cleared his throat. Okawa-san, it is not your story to tell but Naruto's, Itachi interrupted. So please do not go saying unnecessary things, and, Azuki-san, make sure to talk to Naruto about this. Again, it is his story to tell, not ours. He then went up the stairs following after Naruto. Yugo looked confused, as did Yuki, but then they heard Makoto sigh. Makoto-sensei, is something wrong? The purple-haired girl asked. Nothing is wrong, Yugo-chan, Makoto replied. It's just that sometimes. I think both Naruto-kun and Itachi-kun are growing up too fast for their own good. The problems Naruto has, as well as the pressure my family is putting on Itachi, are causing to bear the weight of the world on their shoulders. They're only 7 for Kami's sake and they are already at the level of 12-year-olds and thinking far older than they should. Makoto sighed again. Makes me wonder, why those two? Why are they forced to bear the burdens set upon them? Yugo looked at her sensei trying to understand the words, while Yuki looked up the stairs wondering what type of problems those two boys had. Minutes earlier with Naruto and Sandayu. Sandayu lead the blonde up the stairs and down the hall to the last room on the right. This will be your room, which you will be sharing with Itachi-san, was it? Sandayu inquired. Hi, it's Itachi, Naruto answered. The older man nodded, then pointed down 2 doors. That is the room in which the females in your team will stay. He then pointed at a door that was 1 door away from his own. And that one will be the one Yuki is in. There are 2 bathrooms, the first door on the left of this floor, and one downstairs next to the kitchen. If you have any questions do not hesitate to ask me or Yuki. Got it, thanks Sandayu-san. The blonde opened the door and was about to enter but was stopped when he heard the old man call to him. Yes, I have a question for you. Which is, do you really not like Yuki? He asked nervously. Naruto thought for a moment before speaking. It's not that I don't like her, since I barely know her. Thank goodness. I just don't like her face. Sandayu made a confused face. But I thought you said you didn't dislike her? And I just don't like her face. How so? Her smile doesn't seem right. Naruto gave his answer. Her smile doesn't seem right? Yeah, kids like us are supposed to be smiling and happy, and we smile like we were supposed to. Yuki's smile though is different. It seems off. It seems familiar to me, but I can't seem to place it. I see. Thank you for your explanation, Uzumaki-san. Please don't call me that, Naruto sighed. Makes me feel old. Ha ha ha. Alright Naruto-san. I hope Yuki won't be much trouble for you. So is this our room? Itachi asked from behind Sandayu. Ah, yes Itachi-san. Please, go inside. I think I'll prepare some tea before I leave to meet up with a man about some better paying jobs. Boys. He nodded at the 2 kids and they nodded back. Itachi watched him go down the hall and then down the stairs before speaking. What was that all about? He wondered. What was what all about? Naruto asked his own question. To not call you Uzumaki-san. Oh that. Are you still mad that you had to take up your mom's maiden name after your dad disowned you? Itachi demanded while Naruto looked out the window of their room. I'm not mad really, I'm not. It's just, I don't know if I'll ever get used to knowing who I really am, I guess. That's easy, Itachi stated in a matter-of-fact tone. I know exactly who you are. Oh, who am I then? You are Naruto, my determined blonde rival. You are Naruto, my sparring partner. You are Naruto, my best friend. You shouldn't care what other people think, just those of who care about you. The two were quiet before Naruto smiled at Itachi. When did you get so deep? Did you talk to Shisui ni before this? Naruto teased. Itachi rolled his eyes before punching Naruto lightly on the arm. Thanks, you always know how to brighten my day. You tend to have a lot stormy day then. Naruto shrugged. Maybe it's part of who I am. Who knows? Naruto then stretched his arms before putting on a determined look. Now, I'm going to climb up that tree without my hands by the end of tomorrow or I'll go a week without ramen. Seriously, tree climbing? I thought you learned this already. I did, but I need practice. Besides, Tsunade and Sarutobi Jii won't teach me the next part of training already. Then Asuma said that he'll teach me some wind jutsu if I can cut a leaf in half only using my chakra. What is up with that? I think he's just pulling my leg. What are you going to do about the girl then? The young Sharingan user asked. What girl? The one we were hired to protect. Oh, that girl. Well, I'll try to see if I can fix her face. Is there something really wrong with it? To me there is. One way or another, I'll make Yuki's smile a beautiful smile. It had been about a week since the beginning of their mission and Yugo found herself sitting on a tree stump in the back of the cabin her team was lodging at for their mission. Next to her sat Yuki, who was looking at the two boys standing in front of them in a clear opening. Makoto was inside the building, cooking lunch for the four kids. As for the boys, each had a kunai in their hands. The blonde had it in his left while the brunette had it in his right. Naruto had a smirk on his face, while Itachi had his Sharingan ready. You ready, Naruto? Itachi asked. Ready, Naruto replied curtly. Azuki-san, if you would. Got it, Yugo said. She picked up a small log and threw it into the middle of the two boys. As it was in mid-air, both dashed forward. Naruto threw his kunai, with Itachi mirroring the movement. The two blades hit the log, one at the top and the other at the bottom, causing it to spin. As the boys neared it, they both jumped and started to punch and kick the log. What made it astonishing was that they were mirroring each other's movement, all due to Itachi using his Sharingan. When the two landed, the log fell as well, showing broken parts. Naruto looked at Itachi expectantly, before the other boy shook his head. Damn, we messed up again, huh? Naruto sighed. Yes, we did. Itachi sounded a little disappointed. That was our 20th try at the combo. What do you mean? Yuki asked. You two looked pretty cool. I was off by a second, Itachi replied. Plus it's lacking some flair, Naruto frowned. It's like it's missing something, the two boys sighed in unison. This surprised the little girl. Yuki leaned into Yugo's side and asked, do they talk like that? Huh? Was the intelligent response. They seem to be, Shinko? Yuki managed to fumble the word. In sync? Yugo mumbled. She looked at the two boys as they started talking about what they did wrong, and what they can add to improve their technique. You can say that. I've only known them for about 2 weeks at most, but from the way things go, it seems like they were really brothers. Even though they act completely different from each other, they think in similar ways and help each other out. Then Yugo frowned. To be perfectly honest, I feel jealous of them sometimes. Why? Not only do they have a bond between each other, they are better than me at everything that concerns being a ninja. She points over to Naruto who was scratching his head with his eyes closed, obviously thinking of something. I'm not as strong and not as good at taijutsu as Uzumaki-san, and I don't have as much chakra as well. Yugo then pointed at Itachi, who also seemed deep in thought. I'm also not as good at tactics or genjutsu as Uchiha-san as well. Also he seems to be much more precise at everything. The purple-haired girl let out a sigh. I still wonder why I'm put in their team. It's because you are level-headed, Makoto said, appearing from the door. The two girls looked at her while Naruto and Itachi kept talking. You see, you were right when you said that Itachi is smart in tactics. He tends to get over his head when Naruto is involved. You're there to bring them into order and think of a good way to do things. Makoto then chuckled to herself. Besides, I think those boys need to have more friends that are girls. Huh? Both girls inquired in unison. Well, Itachi mostly, but ever since the whole fangirl incident. Makoto used air quotes on the word fangirl. They have been a bit wary of making friends with girls. They made friends easily with me, Yugo stated. It's because you didn't squeal or want to hug them until they would die. How about me? Yuki asked, pointing at herself. Well, it seems my son will get along fine with you. However, Naruto is different. Is it because he doesn't like my face? Yes, that may be the reason. Makoto then gave her a cheeky grin. But I see nothing wrong with your face. You're just too cute. I wish I had a daughter like you. Okawa-san, please stop talking like that. It's almost as bad as Naruto and the cat. Itachi sighed as the two boys walked up to the female group. Hey, I'll have you know Tora-chan is a nice cat. I just feel sorry for all the other teams who go after her, Naruto commented. I'm still surprised that cat likes you. Well, that cat's in your family like me too. Maybe it's because of that time I was accidentally lost in training ground 44, the blonde mumbled. You mean the time when that crazy lady went after you? Itachi asked. Naruto shivered at the thought. What? It was an accident. I spilled her dangos, and she all of a sudden decided that she wanted to gut me. Luckily she and Tsunade are friends or I would have died in there. I feel lost again, Yuki mumbled. Me too, Yugo agreed. Naruto chuckled embarrassedly. Sorry. By any chance do you know a woman by the name of Anko Mitarashi? Naruto asked. Oh, you mean Ibuki Morino's protege in the torture division? Yeah, her. She tried to kill me one day, 'cause I spilled some of her dango. She chased me all the way into training ground 44. I was scared for my life in there. Why? You may not know it, but even some Chunin are afraid to enter that training ground, Makoto interjected. It is full of dangerous plants and animals that are hard to defeat. I'm still surprised that Naruto-kun here survived. I am as well, Itachi nodded. Heck, even I'm surprised too, Naruto admitted. But yeah, I was in there for a few hours. While I was in there, I started to cry and met up with this big lion. It almost ate me too. It stopped though, I don't know why. I mean, I started to sniff me and gave me a big lick before moving away. Bet it didn't want to taste ramen-flavored kids, Itachi deadpanned. The girls laughed while Naruto rolled his eyes. Haha, very funny. A few minutes later it came back with meat. Now I'm not sure what happened after that, since I sort of fell asleep after trying and failing to make a fire. I woke up in the hospital, and Tsunade Ba-chan told me that Ero-sensei had found me. Ever since then, cats like me for some reason. That is weird, Yuki said with a pout. Are you always this weird? Is your face always like that? Naruto shot back. Naruto-kun, please stop insulting our client, Makoto chided. I will when she smiles the right way. What do you mean by that? Her smile is weird, like she's not really smiling at us. The rest of the team looks at her who smiles brightly at them, before looking at Naruto. There is nothing wrong with it, Makoto said, although she had a feeling he was right. Her woman's intuition and partly because she was a mother, saw what Naruto was implying. She knew what was wrong with the girl, she could very well tell Naruto that, but she wouldn't, for she wanted Naruto to think for himself, as well as test him to see if he can keep his word. Okay, well now let's get out of the sun and have some lunch. She then turned to Naruto and Itachi. Remember boys, don't go out after you eat. You may just throw up your food again. Hi Makoto-sama, Naruto said with a smile. He then turned to Yuki. That's how you smile. I know how to smile dummy, Yuki pouted. Well, it doesn't look like it. Why do you keep saying that? The girl argued. Because it's true, Naruto shot back. The two seemed to glare at each other before the blonde ninja spoke again. It seems like you don't know how to be angry either. What? This seems. Naruto stopped talking for a bit, before he snapped his fingers. It seems fake, like you're acting happy and angry, but you're not. What are you saying? Yuki asked. You seem to be faking all your feelings. You're wrong. I'm right, just admit it. No, you're wrong. I'm right. You're wrong. I'm right. You're wrong. Right. Wrong. Right. Wrong. Right. Wrong. Naruto stopped after her shout, and Yuki smirked at him. The rest of Team 9 sighed in unison. Ha, I win, Yuki said with a small smile. Naruto was looking into her eyes for a few seconds before shrugging his shoulders. If you say so, he replied, then he turned around and entered the building with Itachi right behind him. Leaving the women outside. That was odd, Makoto tilted her head to the side as she spoke. Don't you think so too, Yugo-chan? Hi, that was odd, the purple-haired girl said. Why was it odd? Yuki asked them. Naruto-kun gave up too easily, Makoto replied. With the boys. You gave up too easily, Itachi said as he sat down next to his best friend on the sofa. I know I did, Naruto admitted with a smile still on his face. There is a reason for it though. Oh, how so? While we were arguing, a small part of her wasn't faking it. A very small part of her seemed really angry with me, while another part seemed truly happy that she won the conversation. She wasn't faking those emotions at that time. Itachi raised an eyebrow before closing his eyes. I guess it's your win then. Yeah, and I'm going to see if I can make her react more. He was interrupted when his stomach rumbled. But for now, let's get some food. Couple of hours later, Naruto was sitting on the roof of the building by himself. In his hands was a small leaf from a nearby tree. He had his eyes closed as he sat there concentrating. Naruto then frowned after a couple of minutes of doing that. Damn, I still can't do it, he said to himself. Asuma ni must be pulling my leg since I can't even make a small cut on this stupid leaf. The boy let out a deep breath before lying down on the wooden roof. He closed his eyes as he just listened to the wind and relaxed his body. It was like that for a few minutes until he heard a noise coming from behind the house. Cracking one eye open and stretching his arms a bit, Naruto crawled over to the other side of the roof and searched for the source of the noise. His eyes had adjusted well enough to the darkness, and the light from the moon helped out as well, so it was easy to find the disturbance. Looking just a bit into the tree line, he saw a small figure who was sitting at the base of a tall oak. Since Naruto knew it wasn't any of his team members, all he could guess was that the girl was none other than Yuki. Naruto was about to call out to her and ask what she was doing outside at night with no one watching her, but stopped when he heard her. The girl was crying. Oto-san. Why did you have to die? She sniffed quietly as she cried next to the tree. Naruto lay down again as he listened to the girl crying for her father. Closing his eyes, he let out a shaky breath. Why did she have to show more emotions now? Especially when it's sadness. I can't handle crying girls, Naruto mentally sighed. So that's why she's acting out her emotions. She is still in mourning. Mentally kicking himself, Naruto let out a frustrated groan. Kami, I've been mean to her, now I feel bad about insulting her. Stopping his train of thought, he took in a few deep breaths before letting one long out. Well, there's no changing it now. I'll keep my word, and try to make her smile a real smile. He then visibly frowned. This is going to take a while. Naruto sat still for a few minutes before taking in a deep breath, then, ah. Instantly Itachi is on the roof with a kunai in hand. Naruto, what is it? Itachi asked as he looked around cautiously. Are we under attack? Nope, answered the blonde. Is there something in the forest? Nope. Then why did you scream? I felt frustrated, that's all. Itachi had to stop himself from face-faulting. You screamed because you felt frustrated? Yep. Naruto, sometimes you are such a kid. I am a kid, I mean I'm only 7 and so are you. Itachi opened his mouth to respond but only shook his head in disbelief. You know what? Forget it, I'm too tired to deal with this right now. I'm going to bed. Good night Naruto. Night Itachi. The next morning, Yuki woke up later than usual, which was fine with her. She really didn't mind, it meant less time being spent with the ninjas. She honestly didn't mind them, but she hated faking being happy in front of them. Especially the blonde idiot, who kept calling her out on her actions. While it was annoying, Yuki had to admit that the blonde was able to do something that Sandayu hadn't been able to do ever since the death of her father at her uncle's hand. He managed to make her feel an emotion, even if it was only irritation and satisfaction of winning an argument. Slowly doing her morning rituals, she went downstairs and found that everyone was eating breakfast but Naruto was missing. Where's Uzumaki-san? Yuki asked. He's still asleep, Makoto hummed as she set a plate down for her. He tired himself out last night. After his odd scream, he told me he went back to work on cutting the leaf, Itachi mentioned. When I woke up this morning he was asleep on his bed, and on his nightstand was a leaf with a small incision on it. Itachi then rubbed some of the sleep out of his eyes as he brought a bowl of miso soup to his mouth. He wouldn't be quiet for even a few seconds when he came into the room. Woke me up and kept me up for about an hour. I had to subtly place a genjutsu on him to make him fall asleep. Oh, so I'm guessing he's going to try even harder now, isn't he? Are you sure that is a good idea to let him do that? Yugo asked. I mean, he seems really tired. Is converting chakra into an elemental-based one that hard? It isn't, but getting the hang of it is. Makoto then looked at Yugo. Itachi here has a little grip on using Kaden chakra, while Naruto is learning futon. How about we teach you how to learn to use elemental chakra as well? Really? She asked. Although we may have to teach you 3 more chakra control first. Makoto had on a pensive face before turning to Yuki. Excuse me Yuki-chan, do you happen to know where the closest body of water near here? Oh, there is a small lake nearby, Yuki smiled. Why do you need to know, Makoto-sama? I'm going to teach the kids how to walk on water. She then turned to Itachi. Go wake up Naruto-kun. Hi Okawa-san. Itachi stood up. Itachi ascended up the stairs and a few minutes later the girls heard a scream. Gah, that's cold, Naruto shouted. Yuki nearly truly smiled at what happened. It was funny to see the blonde get irritated. I just told Itachi to wake him up, not splash him with water. An hour later, Team 9 plus Yuki found themselves in front of the small lake Yuki had mentioned. The kids were sitting on the ground while Makoto stood up front of them scanning the area. "This looks like a good place as any," she whispered to herself. Turning to the kids, she smiled at them. "You three know how to walk on trees, right?" The trio of kids nodded. "Good, this is the same thing, but you have to continuously pour out chakra to keep you afloat, if not you'll fall into the water." "Is that it?" Naruto asked, almost skeptical. "Yup, that is it. Since you already know how to put the right distribution of chakra into your feet through climbing tees, all you have to do is keep a steady flow of chakra going out. Just remember to concentrate and you'll be fine. Eventually you won't even notice that you are doing it." "Oh, that sounds easy enough," Yugo said. "Good, you can go practice now if you want." "Oh, and Itachi. No Sharingan. That would be unfair to the other two if you saw how much chakra you put into your feet." "Whatever you say, Okawa-san," Itachi answered. The trio got up on their feet and slowly walked out towards the water. Naruto was the first there and gathered some chakra into his feet. Concentrating on maintaining the chakra, he walked forward and made it a couple of steps. "Hey, this isn't so bad," he smirked, but sadly on his next step he fell into the water. "Gah, that's cold." This time Yuki actually giggled at his expense. "This seems harder than I thought it was going to be," Yugo said. She got as far as Naruto, and a little beyond before falling into it as well. "Kya, why is it so cold? It's summer." Itachi rolled his eyes and did the same as the other two, however going farther than both, just by a meter or so before he fell in. Unlike the other two though, he didn't scream out how cold it was. He gritted his teeth and met up with the other two as they arrived at land. Itachi looked at Naruto, and the blonde stared back before they both nodded. Yugo sighed. "You guys are going to make this into another competition again, aren't you?" The two boys nodded towards her before gathering their chakra and racing off on top of the lake. Naruto got farther this time, matching up to the same distance as Itachi before they plopped into the water again. "Those boys will turn everything into a competition." Makoto laughed as she said that to no one in particular. Yuki was giggling alongside her, actually laughing at the fact that the blonde would complain each time he fell in. "They seem to be having a lot of fun though," Yuki commented. "Well, that is how those two are. They understand each other better when they compete at something." She then looked at Yugo, who was standing still on top of the shallow part of the lake. "However, I wish that they would have done what Yugo-chan is doing instead." "Good job, Yugo-chan. You'll get the hang of this faster than those two if they keep this up." "Thanks, Makoto-sensei." Yugo beamed. When she lost her concentration to answer, she only sank up to her ankles before trying again. All was quiet in the area save for the occasional splash and a little bit of jeering from the two competing boys. "They seem so carefree," Yuki whispered, almost imperceptible to other people. "They aren't," Makoto replied, shocking the girl when the woman answered. What? These kids aren't as carefree as you think. They all have such heavy burdens on them, namely Naruto and Itachi. My husband expects so much out of our son that he doesn't even consider the existence of our other son Sasuke. Naruto also has problems, as we said when we got here, and he's trying to make the best of it as he can." "What is Azuki-san's burden then?" Yuki asked, pointing at the purple-haired girl who was taking a break a few feet away, cheering on her two teammates as they continued to race one another to see who would get farther before going into the water. "Hers is simple, but puts one into doubt. She is in a team with a genius and a prodigy. Actually, both can be considered geniuses in their own right. As she said so herself, she always feels inadequate when she's around both Naruto and Itachi. How do you think it would feel like to always be in the shadow of two others better than yourself?" "I think I would be. I would feel pretty bad about myself." Next to her, Makoto nodded. She's afraid of being a burden to the team. Slowly a smile made its way to her face even though she said that. Although, it's also because of those two that she is improving at a rapid pace. She wants to stand next to them, not follow behind them. That is why she keeps taking steps forward to eventually reach where they are. A pedestal she put the two on. Not only that, Itachi and Naruto are helping her along the way, just like how Naruto has been helping Itachi with problems. How? Just by being Itachi's friend. Someone who doesn't expect something from him other than friendship. It's why Itachi could keep up with the demands of his father. The bond the two share keep him motivated on going on. Naruto is just what Itachi needs in a friend, someone who doesn't demand anything but friendship in return. How about Uzumaki-san? How does he rely on the others? She asked, curious about the blonde. We're just there for him. Yuki looked confused. It's not my story to tell. I'm telling you I'm lasting longer than you are, the two females heard Naruto shout. Looking out onto the lake, they saw both boys sitting on the water, rather tired. Still, they were sitting on the water. You've fallen in at least an inch, admitted Naruto, Itachi deadpanned. No, I didn't. If anything, you're the one running out of chakra. We will see. The two glare at each other before just sitting there. A few seconds later, Yugo joins the two and sits down on the water as well, starting up a conversation with the two. Wow, it looks like that got it. And it only took an afternoon to do so, Makoto said with a smile. Of course, this is much easier to get than tree walking. Standing up, she cupped her hands around her mouth before shouting, kids. Let's head back now. I have to make dinner. Hi. The trio responded and got up from the water and walked over to them. Yuki smirked at Naruto. Did you have fun getting wet? She asked. Naruto smiled at her before nodding his head. I didn't mind really, he answered. I had learned something today, but it's freaking cold. Then his smile got wider when he saw her smirk. Plus today is a good day. Why? You smiled nicely today because you actually seemed to have fun laughing at me mess up. Yuki's eyes grew wide when she heard that. Thinking back on it now, she really did enjoy the stupid antics the boy did. She was feeling some of her emotions again. That's not. Whatever you say, Yuki, he cut her off. Let's go back and have some dinner. I'm starved. Itachi rolled his eyes as did Yugo. Makoto led the four back to the home, with Naruto at the back with Yuki who was looking at him carefully. Why does he seem to care about me? She thought. A week later. A week was left in their stay there, for Sandayu was coming back shortly. The three genin kept practicing and training, while also spending some time playing with Yuki. Naruto seemed to spend more time with her more than anyone else, which confused both Yugo and Makoto. Itachi wasn't confused since he remembered the blonde's goal of making the girl smile beautifully. So the group watched as Naruto spent time talking, arguing and even joking around with Yuki. Some of the times Naruto seemed irritated, heck most of the time would be correct, but there was some times where Naruto would beam at Yuki happily giving her a smile and a compliment, which would then make the girl blush. It was nighttime now and it was raining outside. Everyone was inside spending a lazy day. Yugo was taking time to study some of the house. Itachi was reading from a book and Makoto was happily cooking in the kitchen. Naruto was sleeping in the room peacefully until something woke him up. Naruto opened the door. Itachi shouted. The blonde fell out of bed with a thud before looking at his friend, who had a worried face. Are we being attacked? He asked. No. Then what's wrong? Yuki has gone missing. What? She went outside before it rained during the afternoon, but she still hasn't come back. You sure about this? Yes. Azuki-san and Okawa-san had already left to search. I'm only waking you up to help. Right. Naruto put on a raincoat from within his bag before following Itachi down the stairs and out the front door. Which way do we go? Azuki-san went south and Okawa-san went north. I'll head to the east and you'll head to the west. Got it. When do we meet back? Naruto pointed at his watch. If you can't find her in an hour, head back already. Naruto nodded and they both ran off in opposite directions. As Naruto ran through the woods, his mind was running 100 miles a minute. Wondering why would she just run off like. Yuki, where are you? He shouted as he ran through the forest. He kept searching, continuously watching his watch. Since he was heading only in a straight line, he knew all he had to do was turn around and run backwards to make it back, but he had to push forward. 20 minutes of searching later, Naruto came upon a mountain. His eyes looked everywhere hoping to find some sort of clue to help him find Yuki. His breath was heavy from all that running in the rain though. A boom of thunder and a flash of lightning later, Naruto saw a small opening on the side of the wall. Running there, he took a few steps in to rest before looking for her again. As he was about to sit down, he heard some sniffling. Looking behind him, he looked back and saw a crouched figure in the back. He took a step forward but kicked a stone, alerting the other person. Who's there? The person asked. Yuki? Naruto asked back. You Uzumaki-san? Yuki sniffed. Naruto let out a relieved sigh. Yuki, What are you doing in here? Everyone is looking for you. What do you care? She mumbled as he got closer to her. The 7-year-old boy sat down next to the 7-year-old girl while she cried. It's not like you're my family or anything, or that I have any of it left. You're talking about your dad dying, right? Yukie's head snapped to him. How did you know? I accidentally overheard you one night. Yuki put her head back down while she sniffled a bit. The two sat there not talking until Yuki spoke again. Are you going to feel sad for me too then? Naruto looked at her waiting for her to explain. Are you going to feel sad for me too just like Sandayu has for the past 2 years? I'll feel sad for you, Naruto stated, but I will not pity you. Why? Because I'm in a similar situation. What do you mean? I lost my family too, in a sense. Yuki looked at him. Did they die? No, they didn't die. They just don't remember or love me anymore. To them, it's like I don't exist a part of their family. To them I'm just a stranger with a similar name to my mom's old name. Naruto looked at her, and stared her in the eye. When your father died, at least he said he loved you, right? Yuki nodded. Then I'm jealous of you. At least you know your dad loved you when he died. Unlike me, whose parents are still alive but don't give a damn about me. Again the two stayed silent while sitting next to each other. Until once again, Yuki once again. I'm sorry, she whispered, catching Naruto's attention. She was looking into his eyes, and Naruto could see that she genuinely was sorry. What are you sorry for? What happened to you, as well as acting in front of you? Don't mind it, besides you're the first person I told my situation that is outside of Konoha. It feels good to have someone else know what happened, doesn't it? Yuki smiled, a small one, but a real one as well, and nodded her head. Yeah, let's go back now, okay? I can't, Yuki stuttered. I hurt my leg. Why didn't you say so earlier? Naruto sighed. He bent down and picked her up. He was carrying her on his back, like a piggy back. Which was funny since she was only a bit shorter than him. Kami, you're heavy. He was then hit on the back of his head. I'm not fat. Naruto rolled his eyes before reaching down and taking the raincoat. Put this on your head, I don't want you catching a cold. Yuki did that, and then Naruto headed back. The two making small talk as they did. A week later. You're an idiot, Itachi said to Naruto. This was met by a slight tap on the back of the head by Makoto onto Itachi. The group stood outside of the house where they had spent a month at. The group had all packed up and were about to leave, but the farewell became a bit teary-eyed as Naruto and Yuki wouldn't stop saying crying. After their little emotional time in the cave, Naruto and Yuki seemed to become even greater friends. While from time to time, Yuki would lapse back into faking her emotions, Naruto would try to reprimand her on it. You'll write to me, right? Yuki asked, trying to stop her tears. She really didn't want her friend to go, namely due to the fact that she and him had kept talking about their problems and come to terms with one another. I'll try, Naruto answered, letting the tears flow freely. Don't start getting all mopey again when we leave. I'll know you miss me. As if I would stupid, she sobbed. She and Naruto shared a hug before he turned around to leave. As Naruto was leaving, he shouted something over his shoulder. When we meet again, I'll be a strong ninja. So if you need something, just give me a call. Well, when we meet again I'll be super famous. So I'll give you an autograph for payment. Naruto chuckled as they left, but still had some tears in his eyes. Yugo and Makoto were talking amongst themselves and Itachi rolled his eyes at Naruto's farewell. You're going to be sad that you're leaving your girlfriend? He asked in a serious tone. She is not my girlfriend. Naruto shouted. Even from a distance away, Yuki heard it and giggled. She entered the house where Sandayu was waiting. Did you enjoy yourself, Yuki? The old man asked. The little girl nodded her head. I had fun, Yuki told him with an honest smile which surprised the old man. How so? Because I made a friend, the girl said happily as she skipped into the room. Minato Namikaze, also known as the Yondaime Hokage, was sitting at his desk looking over numerous Chunin senseis of several genin groups. As you may know, Minato started smiling at them. We have gotten an invitation from Kumo for the first Chunin exams this year. Whispers broke out as the senseis talked amongst themselves. Sir, aren't we still hostile with Kumo? A random Chunin asked. Minato shook his head. To be honest, our relationship is quite cloudy. This got a laugh out of a few people. But no, we are not hostile with them. So that is why I have accepted. Now how many of you are willing to send your teams to Kumo for the Chunin exams? Slowly, several Junins suggested their groups with the head of the village nodding his head writing them down. After a couple of minutes Minato asked, "Is there anyone else?" "I Makoto Uchiha nominate Itachi Uchiha, Yugo Azuki and Naruto Uzumaki for these Chunin exams," Makoto said as she moved up from where she was. Several people started to murmur again, and no one noticed that Minato narrowed his eyes. "Are you sure about this, Makoto?" "Of course I am," the Uchiha matron replied. "I have faith in my team just like all the other Junin has in their team. But they are just rookies, not even a year into their genin days." "That is true, however, you forget that my team has already successfully done 8 C-rank missions. Can any other genin team here boast that in their first year?" Many of the Junin in the room could feel the tension rising between their leader and Makoto. Some were confused as to why he wouldn't let this one team go to a Chunin exam. It's not like they would get past the first round, right? "I'll let them go," Minato said slowly. Makoto smiled, but it was quickly replaced by a frown by his next words, "Only if someone would second the notion." "Does anyone want to do that?" None of the Junin spoke up. Sure, they thought it would be a joke if the rookies went into the exams, but they did not want yet another competitor in it as well. This caused the Hokage to smile. "Well, it looks like. I'll second the notion," an elderly voice interrupted the meeting. Looking towards the door, everyone saw Sarutobi Hiruzen with a pipe in hand. "Hokage-sama," several Junins, even the present Hokage, greeted. The old man smiled but shook his head. "How many times do I have to tell you? I'm just a regular ninja now that hands out missions," Sarutobi smiled. He then turned to his successor. "As I was saying, I second the notion of Squad 9 going to the Chunin exams in Kumo." "But Sarutobi-sama," Minato tried to reason, but was cut off with the older Hokage putting his hand up. "Minato-kun, I hope you would trust my judgment in sending that team out. If anything, it shows good faith in our up-and-coming ninja. Wouldn't you agree?" He smiled at the blonde. After a few seconds Minato sighed and nodded his head. "Fine, I'll allow Team 9 to go." "Thank you," smiled Makoto. "Now if you don't mind, I'll be getting the consent papers." Looking at the former Hokage, she smiled at him. "Would you like to come and tell my team the news?" "I would love to," Sarutobi replied. The two walked out of the room. "The rest of you are dismissed to tell your teams as well," Minato said with a smile. The rest of the group bowed, before leaving as well. It was quiet for a moment before he spoke again. "I want you guys out of the room as well. I need some time to myself." Putting down a simple genjutsu to make them invisible, 4 Anbu, the special group of ninja that only listened to the cage of the village, left the room too. He waited to make sure no one else was there before Minato put his hand on the desk, where a hidden seal was. The room glowed a bright blue before stopping. No sound was coming into the room, even though the window was open. Closing the blinds, Minato took a deep breath before doing something no one would have expected. He grabbed some random object from his desk and threw it against the wall of the room, letting out a furious scream. Sitting down, he allowed himself to calm down and look at the situation carefully. Before long all he could do is frown. Damn, if this keeps going on, the Toad Sage's second prophecy will come true. I will not allow that to happen. Naruto must lose at these Chunin exams. At Tsunade's home minutes later. It had been about 3 months since the whole mission with Yuki. He had kept his promise to Yuki and sent a letter once a week. Since then Team 9 had done only C-rank missions since then. They all varied in difficulty. Some had them guarding yet another person, another had them gathering data and trading it with another team from another country, and others had them taking stuff from other people. It was also during this time that Naruto and Itachi had experienced their first kill. They were guarding a caravan of merchants traveling through Fire Country to the border of Wind Country. As they approached the desert, several bandits appeared to steal from the caravan. While the members of the caravan could fight, Naruto's group was forced to as well. Both Naruto and Itachi had managed their first kill that day. None would talk for 2 days and they were trembling like mad. It was on the 3rd day that Naruto got up and punched Itachi across the face, causing them to have a scuffle. In the end, a tired and beaten pair of shinobi were talking to each other about the experience, vowing to never enjoy killing. But today, it was Naruto's team's day off. "Shizune, when will you get a boyfriend?" asked a very bored Naruto. He was eating some instant ramen as he watched his surrogate sister lounge around the house. Be quiet," An older girl, looking around the age of 17, stuttered. She was sitting down across from him. She was wearing a dark purple kimono with a fishnet shirt underneath. Around her waist was a large red obi tying it. I just haven't found time to get one. Shizune replied. That's what you said a month ago. You haven't gone on a mission in 2 weeks and Tsunade-chan hasn't given you any work. You should go on a date or something. Naruto-kun, you're 7, I don't think you should be giving out dating advice. I have about a third of the village willing to be my girlfriend, I think I can give advice. Plus, Ero-sensei gives me great tips. Although I don't know what he means by sharpening my kunai a lot, or putting my sword into a girl's sheath. I mean, I don't even have a sword, and my kunais are sharp. Huh? Shizune, why are you blushing? The blonde asked as he looked at the teen. Her face was beet red while he spoke, for unlike him Shizune understood what he was saying. Seriously Shizune, are you sick or something? I am not sick Naruto-kun. The girl stuttered, shocked at the fact that her little brother was taught something like that. Just don't repeat those words again. For a long time. Especially in front of girls. Okay, but are you sure? You're still quiet red, the blonde said worriedly to the girl. Shizune nodded again. So as I was saying, you need a boyfriend. Even if it is Kakashi Baka. I don't like him like that. Shizune shouted. He's a pervert and weird. Really? I don't like him like that, really. Then you probably like someone else. Maybe a Sumini? Shizune shook her head. Genma-san? Another no. Guy-san? Hell no. Shizune shouted, causing Naruto to flinch. He's even weirder than Kakashi. I agree. Naruto then thought for a moment before opening his mouth again. Then who do you like? I can't say, she said slowly. Why? Because there is an age difference between us, more than 5 years. Shizune was blushing, the thought of talking about this to Naruto. Is he older? Younger? Ew. If he was younger that'd make you a pedo. Pedo. Pedophile, a voice finished for him. Yeah, pedophile. Thanks Ero-sensei. Naruto thanked the old man behind him, without looking back. No problem Brad. Jiraiya smiled as he ruffled the blonde's hair and sat next to him. But is this true Shizune-chan? You like someone younger than you? Shizune was blushing hard again. Shizune couldn't complete her sentence. It's okay. We won't tell anyone, right Naruto? Jiraiya asked the little boy. Right, we wouldn't do anything to hurt Shizune after all. Naruto gave her a smile and a thumbs up. Jiraiya mimicked him. The blonde then turned to the white-haired man. So Ero-sensei, what are you doing here? What, I can't just visit my favorite godson? Well, when you come by the house it usually means you're here to sneak a peek at. Naruto was stopped from talking when Jiraiya's hand clamped down his mouth. What are you doing Brad? Haim may be around to hear you say that. Around to hear him say what? Tsunade asked as she entered the kitchen to find a blushing and shocked Shizune, Jiraiya with a hand over Naruto's mouth, and Naruto looking a bit lost. Nothing important. Jiraiya forced a laugh before turning to Naruto with pleading eyes. Right Naruto? Come on Naruto, lie for me here, he thought. Sure, it was nothing Tsunade-chan. Naruto beamed at her, acting his age. Then why is Shizune blushing? We just found out she's a pedophile. Shizune shrunk back a bit when he said that, then drew back even further when Tsunade raised an eyebrow at her. Whatever, Brat, your team is here to talk to you. Huh? Naruto was confused again. There isn't a team meeting today. Getting up and putting his dishes in the sink, he left the room wondering what was going on. When he entered the living room he was met with Itachi, Yugo and Makoto all sitting there waiting patiently. Why are you guys here? Is there something going on? Actually there is Naruto-kun, Makoto happily said. I have nominated you 3 to be part of the Chunin exams held in Kumo. Really? Naruto shouted excitedly. All 3 of us are going? That's right. The blonde then turned to his teammates. You guys excited about this? As if you even need to ask, Itachi scoffed, but there was a smile tugging at his lips. I'm willing to see how far we have come, Yugo admitted. This had Naruto break out smiling. This is going to be great. Naruto-kun, don't forget that these are exams, and that you need to take this seriously, Makoto told him. Of course Makoto-sama, but I can't help but feel excited. We get to see how we rank amongst the other genin of the world. Where do you think we'll stand guys? The middle, the purple-haired girl guessed, unsure if this was a trick question. Never doubt yourself Yugo-senpai, Itachi said. He had decided to using her first name after knowing each other for this long. If you think we are in the middle, then state it with conviction. But for me, I think we're somewhere near the bottom. I do too, Naruto agreed, nodding his head. Why do you say that? Yugo asked. Because I don't mind starting at the bottom. Why? Because if we start at the bottom, we have to work our way up. If we work our way up, we'll end up showing the world our true potential, Itachi explained. Isn't that right, Naruto? Yeah, we'll prove to the others that we're not just some kids. That just like them, we are ninja. Naruto said with conviction that felt infectious. Yugo was now wearing a confident smile on her face. Who's with me? Itachi rolled his eyes and slapped Naruto on the back. Baka, we already said we were. What's all the commotion about? Jiraiya asked as Tsunade and Shizune appeared from the kitchen. Naruto turned to them and smiled brightly. We're heading off to the Chunin exams in Kumo. The Chunin exams already? Shizune gasped. You guys are so young. I remembered I tried the Chunin exams when I was 12 and became one when I was 13. You guys are advancing faster than I did. Are you sure you guys are ready for this? You should have more faith in us, Shizune. We'll make it through and become Chunin, Ibeo. A silent moment passed before anyone could respond. The first to recover was Naruto. Not again. Man, I hate it when I slip back into doing that. Itachi was chuckling behind him, the girls were giggling, while Jiraiya was outright laughing at him. Don't worry, kid, some people just never get over that, he said. But you be careful, okay? The Chunin exams are serious stuff. I know, that's why I'm excited. Good, we'll be leaving in 2 days with the rest of the Konoha contingent, Makoto told him. She then presented him with papers. Fill these out and give them to me tomorrow, after that just rest for the next 2 days. Hi, Makoto-sama. Naruto nodded. The rest of Team 9 bid their farewells and left, leaving Naruto to do the paperwork. Tsunade went back into the kitchen and Jiraiya left to talk to Sarutobi, leaving Shizune once again to talk to Naruto. It was quiet as Naruto did the paperwork, but since he felt the need to talk to the older teen, so, is the boy you like someone we know? Naruto, Shizune shouted. A week later, the group had left Konoha, were closing in on their destination. With non-stop running they had made it there within the week. Since most of the genin hadn't gone that far from Konoha, this was a sight to behold, but the thing that made it even more spectacular was the scenery. They were so high up in the mountains that they were literally in the clouds. For some odd reason though, Naruto felt at home when he arrived, which worried him. This place looks beautiful. Naruto was snapped out of his thoughts as Yugo mentioned that next to him. We're so high up and mountains look so nice. If you've seen one mountain you've seen them all, Naruto mumbled. But the air feels fresher here. Itachi merely nodded his head. The large contingent then entered through the gates of Kumo. Naruto looked around the village and noticed that most of the ninja in the village had a sword. You noticed it too, huh, Naruto? Itachi whispered. Naruto nodded. We don't have much experience against sword-carrying opponents. We'll manage somehow. As they walked forward, they were led to the hotel they were going to stay in. As was given to every group, they were given a room each with 2 beds, a couch with a pull-out bed, and a couple of seats. Naruto and Itachi had decided to let both Makoto and Yugo have the bed, while they would trade off on the pull-out one and sleeping in a sleeping bag. After settling in, Makoto had given them the day to familiarize themselves with the area. Itachi was leading the group as they exited the hotel. So where do you two want to go first? Itachi asked. Let's just have a look around. The exams won't start until tomorrow anyway, Yugo suggested. Actually, I was thinking of going to get some food, Naruto said. I'm kind of hungry. Didn't we just have lunch? Itachi questioned him. That was like 3 hours ago, Naruto whined. Itachi rolled his eyes. Fine, let's go find something for you to eat. Naruto jumped for joy as they walked around the village looking for a food stand that Naruto would like, i.e. a ramen stand. As they walked around, all 3 of them noticed the different villages that were there. Minor villages such as Aim, Rain, who must have traveled a long way to get there, as well as the Onsen village, and Kusa. Other than Konoha, the only other major village that seemed to agree to go was Iwa. When they passed by the Iwa group, Naruto had hid in between some buildings, knowing full well what they may do to him considering who his father was. When they finally decided to sit down and eat, at a ramen stand of course, Naruto had ordered whatever their largest serving was, which was called the Spicy Thunder Special, that was super spicy and super salty, which would be free if the person could eat it under 30 minutes without water. Now since he was friends with Itachi who taught him, beat into him, to eat properly he no longer gulps down the food. Naruto was taking time to savor the soup as he ate it, but still at faster pace than the other two. While Yugo had been accustomed to seeing him eat vast amounts of ramen when he could, the vendor was looking at the blonde with slight awe and horror as Naruto plowed through the food. "Does he always eat like this?" the ramen vendor asked Itachi. "No," Itachi calmly replied as he ate his salty ramen with a boiled egg, "he's usually faster than this." That made the vendor even more horrified, worried about his sales. "That's right, back at home Naruto-san would be at his third bowl right now, which would be roughly the same size as this," Yugo interjected as she ate her miso ramen with chicken breasts. Seconds later Naruto put the bowl down and had a smile on his face. "That was some great ramen, old man," he smiled at him. "I haven't had anything that spicy in a while. Plus the serving size was great too. You finished that gigantic bowl in 10 minutes, the vendor whispered, nearly crying for the loss of extra income. Oh yeah? Wasn't it that if I could eat it under 30 minutes without a drink it's free, right?" The vendor nodded his head. "Do you think I can have another one then?" Naruto smiled, "If I don't eat it within the same 30 minutes I'll pay for both of them." That had the vendor's head shooting up. "Really? Don't do it," Itachi warned. "You'll just lose more money. When it comes to ramen, almost no one can compete with this boy." The vendor then remembered what they said about Naruto eating more than that and thanked Itachi for the warning. Fine then, Naruto scanned the menu again before finding something that caught his eye. "I'll have an order red bean soup with mochi on it please." "Okay," the vendor replied, once again looking at his lost income. The porridge was given to Naruto who slurped that one too, but a more sedate pace. So slow in fact that Itachi and Yugo were able to finish their ramen 5 minutes before Naruto could finish the soup. "How come you eat that a lot slower than the ramen?" "Not a lot of people know this, but this soup is my favorite thing to eat next to ramen," Naruto told the vendor after paying for the soup. "It's sweet enough to fix the salty taste that the ramen leaves behind." Never thought of it like that before," the vendor replied. Naruto was about to go on but stopped when Itachi nodded at him. Naruto nodded back before disappearing from his seat. "Hey, where did he go?" the ramen vendor asked. "He went to get our uninvited guest," Itachi announced, while Yugo nodded beside them. While they were not great censors, they had trained enough to know when people are following them. Naruto came through the flaps of the entrance a few seconds later, pulling along a girl with brown hair done in a ponytail. She was wearing a black and purple shirt and black shorts. A Kumo headband was on her forehead, although from the looks of it she was quite a bit older than them, probably the same age as Yugo. "Who are you and why are you spying on us?" Itachi demanded as Naruto plopped her down onto the stool. The blonde also noticed the dark look that the vendor sent the girl. The girl looked shocked, probably due to the fact that Naruto had managed to bring her into the shop while also getting the drop on her. After snapping out of it, she looked at each of the 3 genin. "I am Yugito ni, genin of Kumo. I saw some Konoha headbands and wondered what they were doing here," Yugito explained. She seemed uncomfortable sitting there and Naruto noticed this too. "We're here for the exams," Itachi stated with absolutely no emotion in his voice. "I see," Yugito said before looking at Naruto. "Is there another reason you're here?" the Uchiha demanded. "Just one question. Why does he smell like a cat?" she asked pointing at Naruto. "Gah, you mean that lion's spit smell is still on me?" Naruto shouted. "It's been 2 years already and I still smell like that?" "I don't smell anything," Yugo stated. "Neither do I," Itachi agreed. "How come I can smell it then?" Yugo asked, sounding disappointed. Naruto was sure that was the tone she took up when she said that. "Whatever then." The Kumo ninja stood up and was about to leave but turned to them. "As a resident of Kumo I would like to welcome you to your village and wish you luck in the Chunin exams. When we do meet up we will be enemies then." Yugo nodded at them before running away. When she was gone both Itachi and Naruto frowned. "She has an advantage against us now," Itachi told the other two. "Yeah, if she can smell me out she'll be able to find us, and if we fight we won't be able to expect an ambush," Naruto continued. "Then why don't you keep practicing that one move you have, Naruto-san?" Yugo suggested again. "The one that will let you know where people are around you?" "I'll have to keep doing that then." We need to stock up on chakra replenishing pills too if we want to do that, Naruto said. That move will take out a lot of chakra from me. After their brief lunch the trio left and were walking around the village. After some time they had accidentally come across a training field that was in use. Itachi was telling them to leave the area, but Naruto was rooted at the spot. He was watching the two sparring with an excited smile on his face. The two fighting were two buff men. They were both dark-skinned and had platinum blonde hair, and oddly enough both had small beards too. The only way to actually tell them apart other than the clothing that they had was one had sunglasses and was rapping extremely bad. Naruto was ignoring that though. All he saw, or what he didn't see, was the other man, who was covered in lightning who had kept disappearing before his eyes, just like his dad did when he used the Hiraishin no Jutsu, Flying Thunder God technique. Before Itachi could stop him Naruto ran out onto the field as the two stopped fighting. That was so cool, Naruto shouted as he ran onto the field. The two men tensed but calmed down, just a little, when they saw the boy running onto the field who was followed by two other people. This field is reserved for us only. How did you get here? The man without the glasses asked. We were wandering around and accidentally made our way here, Itachi explained. I'm also sorry for the actions for my friend, we did not mean to interrupt your training. It's okay little girl boy. Meeting with kids is such a great joy, the man with the sunglasses rapped. B. Will you not rap right now? The other man grunted. Don't be such a downer bro. Rapping like this is the way to go. B continued on horrible rapping. Whoa, you rhyme really well, do you mind if I go for a spell? Naruto asked in the same way. The blonde and B laughed in amusement while the other man and Itachi face-palmed. Since Yugo was on her own, she noticed the odd similarities between the two groups which frightened her a bit. Sorry for my brother's horrible rapping, the other man apologized. My name is A, and that is my idiot brother killer B. Itachi, the idiot talking to your brother is Naruto, while the female next to me is Yugo. Itachi introduced his team without giving their last names. I take it you three are here for the Chunin exams, seeing as you are from Konoha, Itachi nodded. The two males then looked back towards their counterparts who were rapping. Or trying to. Hey Itachi, listen here. Naruto started with a small sentence. A, our rhyme are likes worms in you ear. Killer B continued. I mean we're pretty cool. And we do go to some rhyme school. What do you think bro? Our rhyming is one hell of a show? Both Itachi and A had twitching eyes at the sheer stupidity the two had presented. Oh Kami this is going to be hell, both A and Itachi said at the same time. You're not half bad kid, not with all the rhymes you just did, B complimented Naruto. Thanks, but rapping is not my thing. I came here to ask your bro how he's fast as lightning, Naruto said. That made A and B freeze. What did you say? I asked. I wanted to know how you're so fast. That odd lightning move you did, the one that made you really fast. I wanted to know how you did it. Sorry kid, but it's Kumo's secret. Oh, Naruto deflated. Naruto leave it alone, we have to go, Itachi stated. Makoto-sensei may be looking for us. Itachi was taking care of avoiding giving out more information than he should. Yeah, Naruto answered, before a smirk appeared on his face. Hey, how about a bet? A bet? I asked. If I could make it to the third round of the Chunin exams, you'll show me how to do that technique. What a silly bet. Why would I do something as stupid as giving a kid the move that only Raikages know? Because I can bet something on the line too, something that would make it your while. What would that be? An Uzumaki, Naruto said with the utmost confidence. That had his eyes widen, while B remained relative quiet. Behind him Itachi and Yugo looked mortified. An Uzumaki? A said carefully. Yup, one with the power to seal and control Biju and bind Jinchuriki. That had a trembling, his father had messed up getting an Uzumaki by the name of Kushina. How could he trust a mere boy to get one for him? How can I be so sure you can accomplish this? Trust me I have my ways, I'll even sign a contract if I have to. I looked at Naruto, who seemed so confident in his end of the bargain. There were a few tense moments of silence, before a nodded. Fine but we won't need a contract. I mean, a little kid like you wouldn't be able to fool me a Chunin. True. So we have a deal? Naruto had stretched out his arm, which shook. When he did, it was surprised to see a black mark appear around his wrist. What the heck is this? Naruto smiled. While I may be only 7 years old, san, that doesn't mean I'm stupid. I had taken up a small interest in seals, and that is one of the ones I got used to. It's an explosive seal, which can only be taken off by me since it requires something only I have. Why did you put this on me? Just a little. What's the word again? Insurance that you keep your end of the bargain. How come you don't have one? Who says I don't? Naruto showed his wrist to A. It will detonate if I don't hold up my end of the bargain as well. A stared at him before grunting. Fine. B, let's go, we're late for an appointment. A turned around and left the clearing, leaving only Killer B and the kids. Well, that was pretty cocky of you, little dude. Your ways of tricking bro was quite crude, B smiled. But I like that about you. Just be sure you don't bite off more than you can chew. B then disappeared with a puff of smoke. When they were gone, Itachi walked up to Naruto and punched him across the face. What the heck do you think you were doing? Itachi roared, which scared Yugo. He's showing more emotion than Yugo was used to seeing, but Naruto had seen this side before too. Did you know this could be considered treason? I know, but it's not like I'm putting anyone important on the line here, Naruto reasoned as he stood up. Not putting anyone on the line? I can't think of any Uzumaki that can do what you offered other than Kushina Namikaze, formerly Uzumaki. Are you saying that you are offering her to Kumo? Yugo was surprised at the information. She never knew Kushina Namikaze was related to Naruto in some way. I'm not saying that, Naruto roared back, punching Itachi in the process. I didn't offer her up. Then who? One of the twins? I sure as hell know that they can't do anything like that yet. Not them either. Then who? Me. Again a tense silence broke out between the group. You're offering yourself up. Just to learn a stupid technique? Itachi growled. Think of it as you will, but I need to learn that move. Naruto stared at Itachi. You're playing a dangerous game here, Naruto. I know, but all I have to do is meet the requirements to win. Which is, make it to the finals. Again another silence reigned over the group. Damn it, Naruto, you are stupid, but it seems like you need my help again, Itachi sighed. I'm not happy about your decision, but I don't want to lose a friend. No matter how stupid he is. Naruto-san, don't make any more rash decisions, Yugo reprimanded him. I too don't want to see you leave through this. That is why our team will give it our all, not just for a promotion, but for you as well, idiot, Itachi said confidently. Guys. Thanks, Naruto said with a smile. Don't thank us yet, Itachi told him. The road you put us on is going to be long and hard. I know. Makoto-sama should not catch wind of this, you hear? The other two nodded. Good, let's head back. As they began to walk back, Yugo then just remembered something. Can you really do what you offered? Seal Biju and confine Jinchuriki? Yup. How do we know you're not lying? Because I used it once today, to catch our little guest. With A and Killer B. A went to a sealing specialist to confirm what Naruto had put on him, which was unfortunately true. Only Naruto could take it off and it would explode if he didn't honor his end of the deal. That sneaky brat. A cursed under his breath. Next to him, B was laughing hard. Admit bro, you've been had. Outfoxed by a young lad. B laughed. This is no laughing matter, B. If this is how good the brat is, then we may have a problem. I may be the first Hokage to lose that technique to a brat outside of our own village. Don't make such a fuss, in the exams we have our own little genius. Oh yeah, the Hokage known as A nodded his head then. That is true, not only that he seems to have sent a prodigy as well. A put on a pensive face before smiling. This year may just be the year of the super rookies, and while I may have been duped by one, I don't mind watching how things will pan out. Even for that Naruto brat. It was the first day of the first part of the Chunin exams, and most of the hopefuls were rather nervous about it. Sadly, Naruto Uzumaki and Itachi Uchiha weren't part of that group, for they had only gotten up recently. Naruto was still brushing his teeth after eating a breakfast that consisted of instant ramen and some fruit, although the fruit was only suggested by Makoto. Itachi on the other hand was still half asleep and lazing around, although he was already dressed up. The last member of their team was looking at them with exasperation. Are you guys really going to take your time this morning? Yugo asked, whined. I mean, I was ready since 7 in the morning. It's already 9, and the exams start in 2 hours. Don't sweat the small stuff, Yugo-senpai. Naruto shouted from the bathroom. We'll get there in time. But you still have to take a bath. I don't take hours on end in the bathroom, senpai. Yugo shook her head then looked at Itachi who was just sitting on the couch with his eyes closed. And Itachi, are you really going to sleep at this moment? I am not asleep, Yugo-senpai, Itachi replied with his eyes still closed. I'm merely meditating to focus in on myself. I swear I heard you snoring a bit right now. That was just some deep breathing exercise. For once, Yugo rolled her eyes at Itachi instead of Naruto. Are you two really not going to do anything to hurry up? Yugo asked with an irritated tone. No, both boys replied in unison. Yugo opened her mouth to speak again, but was stopped when a hand was placed on her shoulder. Looking behind her, she saw Makoto giving her a motherly smile. Don't worry about those two, Yugo-chan, Makoto smiled at her. But, Yugo tried to protest. Trust me, it is better to let those boys do what they do. She then shook her head playfully. I remember the day of their genin test. Naruto had slept over at our house. The following morning it was just like this, Naruto waking up late and Itachi just lazing about. Fugaku was so mad when he saw Itachi just doing nothing that morning. She gave a small giggle. So just rest as well, Yugo-chan. If you're stressed about what you guys are going to do, nothing good will come out of it. But, okay, Yugo sighed and sat down on the bed. She copied what Itachi had done and closed her eyes to get a little more rest, since she was more than a bit tired, for she started to feel nervous since last night and got limited sleep. The purple-haired girl didn't know how long it was, but she was shaken awake by Naruto. We have half an hour to get to the testing site, Naruto told her with a smile. Let's go, sleepyhead. You mean I was for an hour and a half? Yugo yawned. Yeah, why didn't you wake me? You looked so peaceful when you did, Itachi interjected as he stood near the doorway. We both thought you should rest a bit more, especially since last night you kept tossing and turning. You guys heard that? I did, but Naruto was knocked out. Shut up, Itachi, Naruto grumbled. The blonde then turned to his third teammate. Let's go, yeah? Makoto-sama is already with the other Konoha Junin and waiting for results. Yugo nodded, then Itachi opened the door. Remember, we have to make it to the finals, Itachi told the group as they walked out of the room and locked it. For Naruto. Right, for Naruto, Yugo agreed. Hey, it's like you're doubting we're not going to make it, Itachi, Naruto smirked. We may be strong, but we aren't going to be cocky about this, Naruto, Itachi shot back. I know, but you're worrying too much. Minutes earlier within Kumogakure's council room. So I take it you have heard about the little bet our young Hokage has made with a boy from Konoha? Kumo's council member Han asked. This was a short balding man who wore a bright yellow male kimono and fanned himself. Yes, we have, various other council members replied. That is good then. Then I do not have to bring anyone else up to speed, Han continued. As you may know, the terms for the bet is that if the brat would make it to the finals, he would be taught how to use the Hokage's lightning armor, according to what my Anbu spies have reported to me. What if the boy doesn't make it to the finals? A random member asked. Then we will have something our third Hokage couldn't obtain. What would that be? An Uzumaki, Han said with a smirk. This caused whispers to break out amongst the council members. I know, the failed attempt back then had caused a stir, but this boy may be able to keep his promise. How do we know we could trust this brat? Yet another different council member asked. He had placed an explosive seal on both himself and Asama, Han informed them. Since we couldn't take it off the man himself, and that only the boy can, we can assume that he knows what he has put himself in. Then we should make sure the boy loses, or at least has a greater potential to lose, at every stage of the exams then. I totally agree with that council member, Han nodded. Since we are in Kumo, we cannot outright show any sort of favoritism, however we can bend the rules enough to allow them to lose. Namely, hindering them more often than not. He then stared at all the council members at their face. So, are we in agreement to what will happen? We will try to have the team of rookies from Konoha fail? Hi, good, now be gone. We do not want any suspicion being cast on us. Han mumbled to himself. Asama is too prideful to do anything stupid as cheat, so we had to do it ourselves. When the room cleared, everything was still until a shadowy figure walked out from his hiding place. Well, this Han thinks A is a sucker, the man stated. As he stepped into the light of the room, it was revealed to be none other than a killer bee. Well then I think I should tell bro about this motherfucker. Team 9. As Team 9 made their way to the gathering hall, they had ran into other teams from Konoha, who would smile at them and wish them luck. however, they knew better than that. Itachi, Naruto and Yugo all knew those were fake smiles and they weren't actually being wished luck. The other teams were just being nice since they too wanted to win. They must think we're stupid or something, Naruto grumbled. I swear they must think we are below them. Don't think anything of it, Naruto, Itachi said. Some of them have tested before and are annoyed at the fact that we are here, mere rookies. I agree with Itachi-san, Yugo concurred. I mean, I saw some of my own senpai there and they were glaring at me too. Well, then I guess we should show the world just how good we are, huh? Naruto said with a smirk. Itachi nodded and Yugo sighed. The trio finally reached the building they were looking for and opened the door. It was empty save for a long hallway. Looking at each other, they nodded and walked down the hallway. It would be 5 minutes of walking down the hallway when they noticed something off. I think we passed by here before, Yugo mentioned as she looked around. I mean, this mark on the wall before. Itachi nodded as well as Naruto. Of course you would notice the mark, I left it there, Itachi explained. It was during our third go-around that I noticed something seemed off. Namely at the fact that we passed by the same picture of the second Hokage twice. I noticed on the fourth go-around, Naruto mumbled. A genjutsu that affects the entire team? Pretty smart move, to weed out the weaker ninjas. Itachi put his hands into the ram seal, as did the other two. Kai, they shouted. Around them the hallway seemed to blur away. Naruto had to blink his eyes a few times to adjust to the lightning. Looking next to him he saw that Itachi and Yugo were recovering as well. Taking in the area around them, he saw that they weren't the only ones affected. Several teams from Iwa, AIM and from Kumo itself were just standing there dazed. Let's go, Itachi said, catching Naruto's attention. We spent 5 minutes here and 15 minutes to walk all the way to this building from our hotel. We only have 10 minutes before they close the doors on us. Naruto nodded his head and they finished walking down the hallway, where they came to a large set of double doors. Through here is the first step to greatness, the blonde said with a smile. You guys ready? As if you had to ask, Itachi smirked. Let us go, Naruto-san, Yugo smiled. Naruto nodded and pushed open the door and they entered the room. As they all eyes fell onto them, Naruto could feel the killing intent of some of the other people aimed at them, as well as the rest of his group, but Naruto and Itachi were able to shrug it off. Yugo struggled a bit, but was able to overcome the feeling as well. They went to the far wall, near a bunch of desks and leaned against it. While they walked over there, they heard some interesting conversations. More kids? A boy asked another one as they passed by some Kumo ninjas. That's the third group with brats in it. I know what you mean. I still can't believe our Hokage let kids into this battle. Not to mention that thing is here to compete too. Naruto heard the other boy whisper back, sending a glare at the opposite end of the room. Following his gaze, his eyes landed on none other than Yugito Ni, who had her eyes closed. Next to her were two boys, who seemed to be in the same age group as Naruto and Itachi. One had dark skin, just like A, and Killer B he had messy platinum blonde hair, with a small patch covering his left eye. He was wearing a black shirt and black pants with white wrist guards. His headband was nowhere to be seen. The other boy had bright blonde hair, not as bright as Naruto's but still pretty bright. His headband was around his forehead, and he wore the exact same thing as the other boy. Hey Itachi, Naruto called out to his friend. The Uchiha who had his eyes closed cracked one open and looked at his friend. Naruto motioned over to the other side of the room where Yugito and her partners were. It seems like we're not the only kids around here after all. Itachi nodded. Look to the corner of the room to left. You'll see yet another boy around our age, Itachi mumbled. Naruto looked to the other side of the room and towards the corner. There was a group of Iwa ninja, but Naruto was surprised to see yet one more kid in their group. This one was blonde, just as blonde as he was. His hair was long and straight like a girl's, with a bang covering his left eye as well. He had on a green shirt with a fishnet shirt under it. Black ninja pants and sandals. Around his forehead was his own forehead protector. Looks like Iwa and Kumo have talented youth too, geniuses in their own right. That or they didn't want to be upstaged by Konoha for sending young kids to try and earn the title. Can I have your attention please? An extremely cheery voice shouted, causing Naruto to flinch. Damn, this person is too happy, whoever it is, the blonde mumbled. They looked to the front of the class to see a woman wearing standard Kumo Chunin gear. Black shirts, black pants and white armor like covering over their chest, but with enough free room on the right side. She had brown hair and same color eyes. What annoyed Naruto was her smiling face. Unlike Yuki, this lady's smile was true, but man was it just annoying to look at it. It was too bright and happy. My name is Sawate, the Chunin introduced herself. I am going to be your proctor today. Kami, her voice is like nails on a chalkboard, Naruto groaned. Next to him Itachi nodded his head also trying to ignore the extremely happy tone of the woman. Yugo was covering her ears with her hands. Looking around, the blonde noticed that everyone was wincing as well. Please take a seat and I will explain to you what your exam will be. Slowly, each group took seats in the empty classroom, with teammates sitting next to each other. When everyone was sitting down, Sawate clapped her hands together and smiled. Great. Today is the first part of the Chunin exams, so this part is going to be easy. Taking a piece of paper from her pocket, she raised it up for the kids to see. Today you guys are given this. It's a piece of paper with the location of a Chunin who will let you pass this test. It should be in the small space in the desk. You can all look at it right now. Itachi reached in and pulled out the piece of paper and examined, with the other two leaning in. What they saw surprised them. It was just one word, stand, with 3 blanks next to it. Hey, the blonde from Iwa shouted. What the heck is this? We only got a word on it. Everyone started shouting out their protests as well. Naruto was about to join in the shouting too, but Itachi stopped him. Yes, everyone only got one word. All of you got the word stand correct? Sawate smiled. Each person nodded their heads as the proctor smiled. Good, because that is the first test. Not only are you supposed to go to where the Chunin is, you have to find out where it is in the first place. And to make it fair, each group has a different destination. There are 3 areas in all as to where the Chunins can be. And each group can only go to the one on their paper. Then how do we see the rest of the words on this thing? Naruto grumbled out loud. That is simple. We had placed some words in the places where you have visited when you had arrived here. You see, we had some Chunin follow you and mark the areas you had visited when you first arrived. When you left, we had our Chunins mark the area with a special ink that would react to the paper you have no. All you have to do is find the ink spots in the area from the places you went to and figure it out. All the ink spots should be in the first 3 places you had visited when you went to Kumo. Sawate smiled. Is everyone clear on what they are doing? When the groups nodded, they agreed. Oh, and one more thing. We had asked several Chunin to play in this as well. They are going to try and steal your papers from you and destroy it. So please don't lose them. Also, your entire team has to make it to the place. Wait, what? People shouted. You have until sunset to get to your spot. Ready, begin. Just like that, everyone shot out of the room and began looking for the first areas they had visited, with Naruto's group being last to leave. What do you think about this, Itachi-san? Yugo asked. Why would we do this right now? It's an information gathering test, Itachi explained. Ninja like us are supposed to be able to find the information we need and get away from trouble. That is what the inclusion of several Chunins are for. I'm probably guessing they're around us right now, Naruto sighed. The Uchiha and the female nodded. Should I start using that jutsu? Just don't strain yourself. You're going to be using a lot of chakra to keep that move up. Well, if I keep it in a small distance, I don't have to waste so much chakra. Just be careful. You barely finished cutting the leaf a few weeks ago and barely started trying to split that waterfall in half just before we left. Your control over food and chakra is still pretty unrefined. I know that, but I'm not trying to cut anything, are we? I'm just sending out my chakra. Naruto argued. Itachi sighed and nodded his head. Fine, let's do it, but again be careful. Naruto nodded his head this time and did 4 hand seals before shouting. Fuuten. Harukaze Miyabi, wind release. Spring wind elegance, Naruto shouted. From Naruto's body a slight gust went forth in a circular direction. Naruto closed his eyes for a moment, his left twitched at times before he opened them. Crap, this is taxing after all. How far away is the range so far, Naruto-san? Yugo asked, looking worriedly at the boy. About half a kilometer in each direction, Naruto whispered back. I felt a leaf falling through the dome of wind a few seconds ago. Feels weird that I'm doing this now. I could actually start to feel the drain. He then turned to Itachi. Did you bring all the chakra replenishing pills? Itachi nodded. Good, I may need all of them by the end of the day. They then jumped off into towards the first place they visited since coming to Kumo, the ramen stand. Konoha current time. So the exams have begun? Minato asked. He was sitting on a sofa at home, with Yuri, the blonde baby, in his arms. Hi Hokage-sama, the bird Anbu replied. I see. Did you tell the other Junins about what you were supposed to do? Hi, I have told them to tell their groups to try and take out Team 9 as quickly as possible. Very well, you are dismissed. The Anbu member nodded his head and left the room using Shunshin. Honey, who was that? Kushina asked as she entered the room with Tsubaki, the red-haired daughter, in her arms. Nothing much Kushina-chan, don't worry about it. We were just talking about the Chunin exams. Kushina nodded then sat next to her husband on the sofa. Isn't Makoto's group going there as well? Minato stiffened and nodded. That's the one with the Uzumaki boy, right? I think his name was Naruto. Yes, they are there as well. Kushina smiled. Well, I hope they make it far. It has been far too long since we've seen an Uzumaki in action other than myself. Kushina stopped talking before a frown came to her face. Although I have to wonder, why is there another Uzumaki in Konoha other than myself and our family? Also, she stopped and looked at Minato. Why does he look so much like you? I don't know either, Minato lied through his teeth. I mean, with the destruction of Uzushiogakure and the massive dispersion of your people, they may have come across some of my family in other places as well. Naruto may have come to Konoha looking for family to relate to, like you, and if by any chance me. Kushina looked at him and slowly nodded her head. I guess you are right. The two stayed quiet for a while until Kushina suggested something again. Why don't we adopt him? What? Minato stuttered. Why don't we adopt him? I mean, it would give him a chance to be closer to us, and it could give me a chance to teach him some of the Uzumaki clan techniques. I don't think that's such a good idea. Why? I mean, he's already living with Tsunade-sama and he seems to be happy. He lives with Tsunade-sama? Kushina asked in surprise. I didn't know that. You didn't? No, but I guess it would make sense though. The Senjus and the Uzumakis were close to each other, distantly related of course. Why did he go live with them and not us instead? I mean, his parents may have told him to find some Uzumakis to live with, right? Can we talk about something else? Minato tried to steer the conversation away and Kushina noticed it. She noticed that he was willing to stop talking about this specific topic. Why don't you want to talk about this, Minato? The red-haired woman asked. This involves someone in my clan, so I should be concerned, and as my husband you should be concerned with it as well. You see. Minato tried to come up with a convincing lie. He knew he wasn't able to continuously lie to his wife's face. He knew she would catch him in the act. Hokage-sama, a voice interrupted, which let him let out a sigh of relief, which Kushina caught. Both turned to the door and saw a man in complete Anbu gear. Black pants, gray chest armor over a sleeveless black shirt, and a katana on their back. On his hip was a weapons holster and a white mask with a broken left side. What set this person apart was his hair, which was gray and gravity-defying. His left eye was covered with a part of his forehead protector and the whole bottom of his face was covered by a black cloth mask. Kakashi, Minato smiled at the welcomed interruption. How many times have I told you to call me Minato? Ha 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 ha, sorry about that. Kakashi's eyes smiled and scratched the back of his head. What are you doing here, Kakashi? Kushina asked with a smile, although it had a threatening tone. Why did you come at the point where I was asking my husband something important? Oh, Kushina-sama, I'm sorry for bothering, but I'm here on to ask Minato-sensei about something. The Cyclops then turned to his former teacher. What is it that you need, Kakashi? Minato smiled. I was just wondering, who will you take to Kumo when our genin make it to the third round? Oh, about that. Do you mind if we discuss this back at the tower? Minato placed Yuri in the crib nearby them and gave Kushina a kiss on the cheek. I'll see you later, Kushina. He then looked at Kakashi. Let's go. When they left, Kushina furrowed her brows before looking at the girl in her arms. Should we go talk to Tsunade? Kushina asked the mini version in her arms. Tsubaki made some gurgling noise and Kushina smiled. Okay, let's go. Let's get the crib and put you along with Yuri and talk to her. Team 9. Naruto, Itachi and Yugo had all went back to the ramen stand and began to look for what they needed. Naruto and the rest of them scanned the entire stall with a piece of paper. They were surprised when they found some ink blot on Naruto's seat. The word, "the," appeared on the first blank spot on the piece of paper. "Well, that's just freaking great," Naruto groaned. "That doesn't help us in any way whatsoever. At least we found one part, and that was only within the first hour," Itachi answered. Yugo nodded her head and then turned to Naruto. "How are you doing, Naruto?" she asked. "Are you still holding up?" "Yeah, it's just hard to sort through who all these people are. I can only make out shapes," Naruto replied. "Although, it seems like our guests know where we are. 2 people just entered my field and will be on us within the next few minutes." "Damn," Itachi cursed. "I thought we'd have more time. Should we fight them or run?" "We should run," Naruto replied. "I agree," Yugo stated. "Do you still have the paper, Naruto?" Itachi asked as he looked at them. The blonde nodded. "Good, let's meet up back at the designated meeting spot for us." Yugo and Itachi ran out of the room and jumped from roof to roof, leaving Naruto alone as he came out of the room. Naruto's eyes locked onto the 2 people who dropped in on them. They were in civilian clothes, but had forehead protectors on them. "Seems like the other 2 left the blonde boy alone," one of the Chunin smirked. "Yeah, that's right. Well, it makes it easier for us," the other one shot back. "Oh?" Naruto asked. "I didn't know you guys took this seriously enough to take care of a kid like me alone." "Of course we are taking you seriously. We are getting paid a C-class mission rate for this after all." "Oh? A C-class mission? How many of those have you done yet?" 3? 4? Shut up, brat. Our group has done 7. Sadly, our 3rd member is sick right now, so he can't help us." "Oh, my 7 C-rank missions." Naruto gasped in mock shock. "Want to know how many C-rank missions I've done? I've done 8. That doesn't mean anything," one of the Kumo ninjas replied. "You can't how good a ninja is by how many missions they have done." This caused Naruto to smirk. "I could guess what kind of ninjas you are. Crappy ones." "What do you mean? You can't even tell when a clone is standing in front of you instead of the real thing." Naruto then poofed in a cloud of smoke. "What?" both men shouted in unison. "He was a clone all the time. Why didn't you notice? Why didn't I notice? Why didn't you notice?" The 2 started to argue as they went away. From out of a dark alley Naruto walked out. "Stupid idiots," the blonde sighed. Reaching into his pocket he popped in a chakra pill. "Damn, a Kage Bunshin and Harukaze Miyabi drain me like hell." Now to meet up at the training field we met A and Killer B at. A few minutes later, Naruto appeared next to Itachi who was frowning. Yugo was frowning too. "So no luck?" Naruto asked. "No," Naruto answered. "Those Chunins weren't all that smart either. Couldn't even tell a clone from the real thing." "So you lost them?" Yugo asked. The blonde nodded. "Good, because we couldn't find the clue in this area." "Are you sure?" "Yeah, we checked it everywhere." Itachi then closed his eyes before speaking again. "They said the ink blots would be in the first place we visited, right?" Itachi asked. "Yeah," Yugo replied. "Since we visited the ramen stand, we know that was one of the areas we visited." "Right, but you have to remember, where we actually stopped by first." "Which was where again? What are you saying?" Naruto asked confusedly. "I mean other than the ramen stand, the only place we have been to our hotel and the toll booth." Naruto stopped talking when he understood what Itachi was insinuating. "You mean those are the places they can be at?" Itachi nodded. "So let's go there then." The group ran towards their hotel. As they did, Naruto whispered, "Someone is following us." Just as he said, a person landed in front of them. The entire group tensed when they saw the person who appeared in front of them. He was wearing Junin gear, but what set him apart from other Junin was the fact that he had a white porcelain mask in the shape of a cow on it. "What is an Anbu member doing here?" "I am here to stop you," the Kumo Anbu replied. "So now give me the paper, and you won't have to be hurt." Itachi looked at Naruto and nodded. "Yugo-san, please hurry up and get to the places to get where the ink is," Itachi stated. "But Itachi-san," Yugo tried to protest. "Go," Naruto shouted. "Itachi and I can hold him off for a bit." "But he's an Anbu." "We know that," Itachi replied. "Look, we don't have much time, but you can get the ink blots for the paper. So hurry." The purple-haired girl looked at both of them, noticing that they were determined and that they wouldn't budge. Yugo nodded and tried to run past the Anbu member, but he stepped in front of her. "Where do you think you're going, little girl?" The Anbu was interrupted as both Naruto and Itachi tried to kick him in the face. The Anbu dodged to the right, but it allowed Yugo enough time to escape. "Damn! Get back here!" the Anbu shouted. He was about to run after her when a kunai was about to get him. His hand caught it. You think that this would stop me? Now but the thing on it might, Naruto smirked. The Anbu reacted fast enough and threw the blade to the side where it exploded. Well then, it seems like I'll have to beat a lesson into you two boys. The Anbu cracked his knuckles. We just have a question for you before we do anything else, Itachi stated. And what is it? Why are you, an ANBU, participating in something like? We only thought that Chunins were going to be involved in this? Oh that, let's just say we know of a certain, bet. I see. Itachi cracked his neck this time. Naruto, we have a few hours to keep him busy and for Yugo to find the paper. You know we won't win, right? The blonde retorted. I know, but we don't have to beat him. Naruto chuckled before cracking his own neck. Well, let's do this. With Yugo. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yugo muttered as she rifled through their hotel room, placing the paper in front of almost every piece of furniture she could see. Come on, where are you? I need to find you so the boys don't get hurt. She flung pillows away from the bed. Not finding any sort of ink blot, she moved onto the table set. Placing the piece of paper on everything she can. She then put the paper in front of the book Itachi was reading the night before. When she did that, she saw the word, greatest, appearing on the second line. This is great. Yugo let out a sigh of relief. I just need to find the one in the toll booth. She then turned around and left the room. As she exited the hotel itself, she came to a stop when she saw the two Chunin that were at the ramen stand. Hand over the paper, girlie, one of them smiled at her. Naruto and Itachi. Naruto was punched into a tree as he blocked the attack from the Anbu. Kami, that hurt, Naruto cursed. It should, the Anbu smirked under his mask. You are nothing compared to me. Naruto coughed before standing up again. I know you're holding back, but that punch was like a freaking love tap from my Bachan. The Anbu was about to respond, but ducked a kick aimed at his head from Itachi. The Anbu then punched Itachi as he stood up. I have to say you guys are pretty good, for a bunch of 7-year-olds I mean. Although I think it's time to stop playing around. The Anbu walked closer to them. My superiors told me not to kill you or physically cripple you in any way, but I think a sound beating is good enough for you, the likes of you too. You should really stop underestimating us, Itachi replied. Why should I take you as seriously as I take all my other missions? You guys are only 7-year-old genin after all? That's right, but you forget, we're good enough to be in the Chunin exams, Naruto said as he stood up and prepared for another attack. That doesn't mean anything. From the looks of things, you guys made a bad choice in fighting me. If this were a real mission, you'd be dead and I'd be after your third teammate. That shows terrible decision-making that is required for being Chunins. Ha ha ha, he thinks we're that stupid, Naruto laughed. You see this guy Itachi? This guy is acting rather high and mighty. Are all Kumo ninja like this? I don't know Naruto, but Kumo Anbu-san, Itachi replied as he looked at the Anbu. You have already failed your mission. What do you mean? All I have to do is disqualify you for me to complete it, and here you are. All I have to do is cripple you, the cow Chunin told them. Naruto and Itachi started to chuckle. What's so funny? Slowly their chuckles became full-blown laughter. What are you two laughing at? Don't you get it? Your chances of winning are over. You won't be able to become Chunin. It's not over for us, Naruto replied as he calmed down. Although it may be over for you, Itachi continued to talk. Not only did you fail your mission, and let us get away, you beat up 2 Kumo ninja. So more or less, you're fired. What are you talking about? The Anbu growled. The two boys smiled before, putting their hands together and shouting, Kai. A plume of smoke covered them and from out of the smoke fell 2 beaten bodies. To be more specific, 2 beaten bodies of the Chunin sent after Team 9. What? With Yugo. Yugo was about to attack the 2 Kumo Chunin before the one who didn't have their hand out smacked the other one on the head. Idiot, drop the act, the ninja said. Fine, fine Itachi, the one with his hand out grunted before he transformed into Naruto. The one next to him turned into Itachi. Naruto-san? Itachi-san? Yugo asked confused. But, I thought, weren't you guys back there? Look, we'll explain on the way, but for now let's get a move on, Itachi said as they ran towards the toll booth. How are you two here? The purple-haired girl asked. We were always here, Naruto replied as they kept running. We were always watching what was happening. What do you mean? What Naruto is trying to say is we never left your side, Itachi explained. The entire time we were watching you from afar. Huh? You see Yugo-san, Itachi continued. From the moment you woke up from your nap to the ramen stand incident, we were never with you. Then who were those with me? Hanged shadow clones, Naruto revealed. They got to the toll booth at the moment and hurriedly looked for the ink blot somewhere there. The Kumo ninjas did nothing to stop them. It only took a moment, for they found it when the paper had passed over a copy of Yugo's identifications. The word, ramen, appeared on it. Oh, you have to be kidding me. The greatest ramen stand, we went there at the very beginning. Itachi groaned in annoyance while Yugo was still confused. Wait, tell me what happened? I'm still confused, the purple-haired girl stated. They had then ran towards the ramen stand they were at in the very beginning. Look, I'll tell you the extremely short version. You fell asleep. Naruto and I made a plan. Naruto made clones that looked like us. You went to the exam place with clones while we tailed you. Are you with me so far? Itachi asked. Yugo nodded to respond. While we were tailing you, we saw a pair of Chunins following you. We knocked them out, hanged them and put a genjutsu on them while they were still asleep. We made them think they were us. So during the ramen stand incident, we switched off the clones with the hanged people. So to be perfectly honest, we were never with you, and were hiding in the shadows. You guys didn't tell me this plan. Why? Yugo asked, hurt. For it to work, we had to make you believe that we were still there, Naruto told her. I really didn't want to do this, but it was just an extra precaution to make sure we didn't mess up. But you guys could have told me something at least. Look, Itachi said as he put his hand on the girl's shoulder. Yugo-san, we are a team here. What Naruto and I did was not a good thing to do in a team. However, we knew it would have led to a failure if we did tell you. If it makes you feel any better, I'll let you beat up Naruto after the test today. Yeah, wait, what? Naruto asked, surprised. Yugo was silent, and both boys knew she was mad at them. Before they could speak, the girl beat them to it. Fine, I agree with what you are saying. But next time, you will include me in all your plans, got it? Yugo told them. Or else I'll tell Makoto-sensei your little secret. What secret? Both boys asked in worry. I'll tell her that Itachi-san has a crush on Hyuga from our village and that Naruto-san was the one who replaced the sugar with salt when she tried to drink tea, the purple-haired girl threatened. Both boys stopped in their tracks, eyes wide, as they looked at her. You wouldn't dare. I would. So do we have an agreement, boys? Both boys nodded their heads and Yugo smiled at them. Good, and it looks like we are here. The two boys looked up and found themselves at the same place they ate lunch on the first day. The store was called, The Greatest Ramen Stand. They walked in and was greeted by the same vendor from the day before. Ah, it's you three, he shouted. Is the blonde one here to eat me out of house and home again? They didn't respond, save for Itachi showing him the piece of paper. The vendor looked at it for a moment before smiling. Ha ha ha, I didn't think you three would end up at my store for the first part of the exams. From under the counter the vendor produced a forehead protector and placed it on his forehead. How come you sell ramen even though you are a ninja? Naruto asked. Not that I mind really since, well, I love ramen. I'm just curious. A second job is fun and all, plus I just love to make ramen, the vendor, Chunin replied. But this is not about me but you. The ramen vending ninja smiled at them. Congratulations. You have passed the first part of the Chunin exams. The trio smiled. Alright, Naruto jumped up into the air. Thank goodness, Yugo sighed. Hey, Itachi smirked. The trio turned to the ramen vendor and bowed. Thank you. You're welcome kids, he told them. Now in 2 days go back to where the first exams was explained for the second test. The man produced a trio of wristbands and gave it to them. Wear these when you do, it will show them that you have passed the first exam, and don't worry, no one can steal them. Since when you put them on, an array of seals will activate and bind them to your arms. Team 9 nodded and put them on. The wristband glowed for a few seconds before dying out. Okay, you kids can go rest. Thanks again ramen ninja dude. Naruto smirked. I'll be back in a few days for more food. Team 9 walked away. Good luck with the exams then kids, shouted after them. With A and Killer B. So the blonde brats team passed, huh? A laughed to himself as he looked at the roster of teams that passed. He was sort of happy that Naruto's group had made it through the first round, seeing as the council was trying their hardest to cheat him a victory. His eyes trailed down and smiled, so did Darui's and the Nibby's team. Her name is not Nibby, But Yugito, be wrapped. Try to keep that in your mind, bro. I know that. What I want to know is how two genin boys managed to knock out two Chunins twice their age. Well, you see, when I asked the Chunin on what went down, they were making a frown. Yo. B started to do a jig and it irritated A bit. One was like, we were ready to spring the attack. Then the other said, but those two boys snuck up on our backs. They got hit on the back of their neck, and it must have been painful as heck. When they came to, they were beaten up by the Anbu. At the hospital they told me that they couldn't remember anything before it went black and that their memories were all out of whack. I see. A swiveled his chair to look out into the village he controlled. So they said they were overpowered by both of them and that a genjutsu was placed on them. Right, bro. Just how strong are those two boys to be able to do that? A murmured. That's all for now. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments.